Attention!
Welcome to the Film Mages Podcast, where the popcorn is our ammunition, the couch is our foxhole, and the cinema is our place of worship.
Now let me see your war face! Ah!
We're Costco guys. Of course we gaze into the rift.
Great.
We're Costco guys. Of course we can't take our eyes off the eternal schism.
We're Costco guys. Of course the thing with 1,000 chattering mouths is creeping up behind
Boo.
us.
Boo. Bad bit. Bad
I
bit.
like it.
Alexis, what are you eating right now?
It's only a bad bit because you're not online, which is great for you. I'm jealous.
Alexis, what are you eating? I'm liking
What am
it.
I eating?
Yeah.
Okay, don't judge me.
Too late.
You're such a fucking petty ass bitch, Mick. You're always judging me.
He is a petty bitch.
I'm a petty
So
ass
I'm
bitch.
out.
It would make it better if I was gay. It would fit better.
It really would. It would.
Yeah.
Also, we would probably
You'd be more likable.
If you had been like fully gay, we would probably be inseparable.
Yeah. Yeah, no, when I was in middle school, there was this girl I was crushing on really, really hard. And I thought we had some real chemistry, and then one day she hit me where I made her laugh really, really hard, and she just she touched me, and she was like, God, I wish you were gay. And totally tore me down.
I feel like that's actually worse than her assuming you were gay.
Yeah.
That's I'm aware that you're straight.
Yeah.
I wish you were.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's I know you are straight, and it's less good.
Yeah,
this could be better.
I know you want something you're never getting.
Yeah, exactly.
20 marks against you for being a white man in general.
Yes.
But there are so many things that I would. I don't know why it is, but I would probably find it excusable if you were gay.
Wow.
Interesting.
Gay man out here getting a pass from Alexis.
Hall pass for liking the dick. Okay,
Hello,
good to know.
everyone. Welcome to the Film Majors. I am Zach.
I'm not gay, but I probably should be.
What's your name?
Dick.
The people know.
Mind what blank.
God damn it. Okay, fuck it. Who's here with us? Who's our guest? Get fucking close to that mic and speak into it, you piece of shit.
Hi, I'm Drew.
Zach, be
Thanks for
nice.
having me.
Speak up.
Please.
I'm
Talking
Drew.
to the
Thanks
top
for
of the
having
mic.
me. God, this thing. Let me angle
There
it.
we
Let
go.
me angle it.
Yeah, get in there, baby.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
there
God.
it is.
Just scratching a nice chin itch. This is great.
Hi, Drew.
Hey.
Good to see you. Nice to have you back on the pod.
Thanks
Tell
for
the people
having me.
about you.
Oh my God. I am about me. Jesus Christ.
said I am
it's been a
cheese.
hell of a couple of
I
months.
thought he said I am
Yeah,
cheese too.
God, that'd be.
I'm so cheesed.
Don't you start with that.
Walk one, Delilah.
Guys, fucking block
No,
that
I'm
camera
good.
there
I'm
over
about to
here.
do my first, we're about to do our first cast and crew screening of the feature we made last year, so jazz on that.
Ooh,
Fuck yeah.
Greg.
Yeah. Pretty excited about that. Going to Eugene for a little bit. And that's about it.
Hell yeah.
Excited to get a little Zen time up there.
Yeah, Drew is now the first feature film director we've had on the show, I believe.
That's
I don't
great.
think we've had anyone who's made a feature. So congratulations.
Congratulations,
I'm honored.
Drew.
Thank
You're
you.
giving us some
This-
real clout here.
This time last year, I was getting no sleep working on Drew's movie. But
Time of our lives.
Drew, I've got another question for you.
Please.
What's going on?
Nice.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
It was simple. It was
What's
sweet.
going on?
Mick. I'm
No.
eating Fruit Loops.
No.
That feels like
I
a
don't wanna-
perfectly
don't-
normal
don't do
breakfast
this.
staple.
Don't do this.
Don't do what? You
know
wanted
how
to know.
You
asked
you
already.
You know how I like this. Don't do this. Not here.
What?
So have
You
you
have
seen any
balanced
movies?
that spoon of cereal for almost 2 minutes. I was like, that's
big
amazing.
spoon.
Some incredible.
For the listeners wondering why there's so much chewing happening,
The mastication
it is
measures.
pretty early on a Saturday, and I'm hungry. I know Alexis is hungry. Mick, how are you
I
food-wise?
was
Have
fine
you
with
eaten?
starving, but then Zach said he was getting food delivered, and I was like, okay, bitch, let's see.
Great. That was a great story.
Well, I was up late last
It
night.
was great.
No, that's really what's going on.
Yeah,
we're just
I
hungry.
was up late last night watching horror films with Drew, and we saw something that neither of us had seen before.
What'd you see?
We actually saw 1.5 things we had never seen before.
Yeah, we started watching Daddy's Head, which is a new horror release, and
That just sounds
Only
bad.
on X Hamster.
yeah, it's
don't
only
like
on
the sound of that.
I need everybody to stop making horror movies where the monster is just trauma. Like, I'm sick of it,
Yeah.
quite frankly. And Daddy's Head seemed like it was heading that direction. It is a funny title to say.
It's a funny title. It is.
Mommy, what do you miss most about Daddy?
Is the tagline of that
Smashed the
Daddy's
title.
Head where men can be men together?
God, we can be men.
Maybe it's not a grief monster.
The monster is Uncle Jack.
Jack.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, enough trauma as the monster and more Uncle Jack as the monster.
Yeah.
In many ways, trauma is still the monster.
It's funny because I feel like the Mac Daddy of like recent trauma monster things is Smile. But even Smile,
Yeah.
I did like the creature design. It still
I
has like
the
a
creature
design outside
but
of this
I
lame
did
theme.
think that Smile was pretty dumb.
Smile's a little
Too long.
but I like that guy. I like that creature.
You know what else we watched, which was not long? It was a lean, mean 74 minutes long.
Oh, wow.
Was the Slumber Party Massacre.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've heard
Which
of that.
is
Which, if you didn't know the director and writer and anything about them before you went into it, you'd probably be like, well, this is another 70s, 80s sexed up schlock slasher
Yeah,
where it's
very
just tits and
male
ass,
gaze.
very male
Which I
gazy.
am assuming, but
you would be incorrect.
No. You'd be incorrect that it's male gaze, but it's interesting because it does play like that. But as it goes on, it becomes apparent that the writer is gay.
Yeah, the
lesbian.
writer's a gay woman and the director is a woman.
Oh, cool.
And the movie does very much play like a lesbian woman who's like, this is what straight sex is to me.
Yeah.
It's like a man murdering me with a drill.
so what you're telling me is that we have a pick for Queer Cinema Month next year.
Like, maybe.
So what you're telling me?
Interesting, yeah.
the truly like the revulsion with the straight lifestyle like comes through so hard in this movie. Like there's a point where like two people are about to kiss and like as they kiss like we cut to a wide and that like we never linger on any intimacy between straight people.
No.
And the kills are like the weapon is a giant, like, very phallic object that we get shots of to, like, make it look like a dick.
Like between the leg stuff, and no, that's it. When I went to bed last night, and right before I fell into my 2 hours of sleep,
That's on you, dog.
I had the thought that I was like, because the whole movie, the killer, the guy, is maskless. You just see his face the whole movie, and we were kind of like, oh, that's like kind of a bland decision. But as I was going to bed, I was like, that kind of works with the themes of this movie, where it's just like, no, this killer is just a dude.
This is a man.
It's just a guy.
Yeah,
Right.
he's
You know?
just a Costco guy.
He's just a Costco. We're Costco guys. Of course, we stalk the streets with a 3-foot drill.
We're Costco guys. Of course, we're doing a slumber party massacre.
Pretty fun though. It was a fun time.
Yeah,
I'll have to
I'm
watch
never
that.
going.
That sounds fun.
I feel like I'm almost never going to give a horror movie that's under 90 minutes long that has like a few really fucked up kills anything less than a 3 on Letterboxd.
Yeah.
Because it's like, how can you be mad at that? It was a fun watch.
Goes kind of hard too. It's surprising. Like it kind of doesn't go hard, and then somebody gets pulled into a van and a drill pops into their head, and you're like, "Whoa, this is not fucking right."
There's a
actually.
kill. I think the first kill in the movie is basically like beat for beat recreated in Scream 2.
Yes, Randy's death. Yeah.
Spoilers for Scream 2, dog. What the hell?
Randy ain't around after that one.
But Alexis, have you seen anything? What you been up to?
I've actually seen like a bunch of movies. Just
Well, fucking
Shocking.
lay him down,
Shocking.
Brother Bear.
Brother Bear?
Brother Bear. I watched
Don't
the
you
evil.
dare gas her up like that, Zach. You son of a bitch.
Fucking lay it down, my dog. Don't listen to the haters.
Sorry, I'm thinking of a song from Brother Bear right now.
Yeah. See, this is it. This is the problem. God damn it.
God damn
You
it.
can't say random shit like that. You totally derailed what I was thinking.
You're like,
How
come
is
on.
this on me?
Come on, Alexis,
Okay.
let's bang it out, Balto. It's like, oh no.
No. Okay, so I saw
Jesus.
the original Evil Dead for the first time. That was fun. Yeah, I think I get it now.
Yeah.
One
I
of
just-
us.
This is
Just hadn't seen
is like-
enough Sam Raimi to really understand how much this man likes vomit. And I think you brought this up one time, Zach, about how he likes to beat the shit out of Bruce Campbell, and I'm like, yeah.
maybe the reason he got into making movies.
You know, the tree scene, could do without that one.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You know who would agree with you, Alexis? Is Sam Raimi.
Did he
Yeah, no, he
regret
has
doing
in-
that?
He has
Oh
stated
yeah, in years
that-
since he's been like, yeah, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, it's giving. I was like in the middle of it. I was just like, "Is this Sam Raimi's tentacle scene?"
Oh my god. So you loved it.
No. You know, at the very least, tentacles would be comfortable. You know.
This is good. This is good.
No, this is
Let's
far worse than
dissect
Raimi's
this.
tentacles.
Let's dissect this. This is good.
No, that makes sense. That
You know,
Alexis,
you're not wrong,
valid.
Alexis. Yeah.
I
that
raised
would be
excellent points for
scraping.
class.
Yes.
And then I saw, just to totally pivot, I saw Asteroid City for the first time.
Oh, what'd you think?
I really liked it. It was fun. I wouldn't
Fun,
say it's
right?
like obviously I love Fantastic Mr. Fox, and I will probably never like any Wes Anderson movie as much as I like Fantastic Mr. Fox. But I liked it. I really like Scarlett Johansson in the movie. I thought she was really good. I really liked the alien design. It was just such a cute little guy. Little buddy.
The alien is incredible. I
Oh,
love
buddy.
it so much. The reveal of that is so fucking funny.
Right? Like, also just because it fits but doesn't fit in the movie. Just the design of it, it's so silly. And he just comes and he's just checking them out. And then he's like, okay, bye.
Isn't it? I haven't seen it, but isn't it like claymation?
I think.
Like,
Yeah,
isn't it
the
like
alien
yeah,
is
yeah.
like stop motion and has like gigantic eyeballs.
Yeah.
And
That's so sick.
it's so funny.
Love that. He every now and again I feel like he does he did claymation in Life Aquatic a little. Whenever he does that, I love it.
Well, have you seen Fantastic Mr. Fox?
Yeah, I guess I mean more like
Have you seen Isle of
You know,
Dogs?
no.
It's
actually.
I
okay.
still haven't
Alright.
seen that.
It's okay. Yeah. It's not Fantastic Mr. Fox, so, you know. Obviously,
Yeah,
is it Alexander Desplat? He just
Yep.
crushes the score every time. He's so whimsical. I just love everything that he's done. Like, sometimes things kind of sound the same, but, I mean, for the movies that I really enjoy of Wes Anderson, I can always tell what the songs are. And then the little girls that are in that movie are so fucking cute. They're like doing like a seance on their mother's ashes as they bury her. So cute.
Oh yeah, that's a good bit.
So fun. They're funny. I like them a lot. And then whatchamacallit? What's his name? Jason Schwartzman playing the dad. There was a moment where like he's like telling them that their mother is dead, right? And then the kids say something, and it's clear that he's not being very comforting to them. And I was like, that's so me. I felt very seen in that moment. I was like, never in my life have I been comforting to a person when they are upset.
No doubt.
And I kind of have a crush on Maya Hawke, so I was like, I love seeing her in something where she's not
She's great
just-
in that.
Yeah, her and Montana, the guy who played Montana,
That's my favorite part. Rupert Friend is Montana. Oh.
Yeah, I just
Amazing.
love when he comes in and he says like kind of like the most progressive thing about the alien coming down. He was just like, hey, you know, like maybe he is okay, you know, and maybe we don't need to like, you know, go all patriotic about it. And I'm just like, this coming from the cowboy, I love it. And then their little dance scene later on is really cute. So
I love the Alien song so much.
is it the one with the little
The
boy
song
sings?
that the kid wrote?
Yes,
Yeah,
I
the song
love
that the
it.
little boy wrote about the alien is so fucking funny.
It's great. Yeah, big fan.
Did that get... Was that up for Best Original Song? Because it should have been.
I think it was. I actually think I kind of remember that.
You know,
Up for something at some point.
when we make it big, we'll have a research assistant to look up if Dear Alien Who Art in Heaven was nominated for Best Original Song at the
Yeah, we
2024
do. We need a
Oscars.
producer on this show to do that for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to come produce the show for no money,
Yeah, send us a resume.
or acclaim or appreciation, shoot us a resume. Well, Alexis, have you seen anything else?
Yeah, I saw so much, but I'm gonna steamroll through a couple of these. So I rewatched Pocahontas, which, you know, questionable subject matter, but the songs do bang.
The
Songs
song,
fucking go.
They're really good, and they're still really good. And then I watched the live action Cinderella, and I was like shocked because I was like, oh my god, Kenneth Branagh directed this movie. Okay.
Kenneth Branagh, just like every now and again, there's a movie where you're like, what do you mean that was like Jack
What?
Ryan Shadow Recruit? What do you mean
Yeah,
Kenneth Branagh
right?
directed
Like,
that? What the fuck do you mean?
I'm like, Belfast makes sense. Much Ado About Nothing makes sense. You know, Cinderella kind of teetering on the fence. Jack Ryan, though, that one's out of left field.
How about Thor?
Thor.
You know, I like The Dark World.
Shut the fuck up, Drew.
No, you don't.
No, I fucking hate those.
The director. I feel like the director of Thor: The Dark World doesn't like Thor: The Dark World.
Yeah.
I feel like Kenneth Branagh was just like playing himself in that Harry Potter movie. Honestly, like I feel like that guy's kind of like
Magical Me. Yeah.
he's like the heir to Shakespeare, but with like a quarter of the brain.
You know what we need from Kenneth Branagh is for Christopher Nolan to just pop him in his movies and have him do a silly voice from here on out, because that's my favorite thing.
I can't wait for him
Rosie
to play a
Kenneth Branagh
South
in
African
Oppenheimer.
in the next Christopher Nolan film.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, dude.
Whoa.
Hell yeah, dog.
Whoa.
Get your mouth around that accent. Oh, my God.
Okay, well,
what else, Alexis?
I had a musical night with some friends, and so we started off really strong with Dreamgirls, which fantastic. Eddie Murphy is so good. Anika Noni Rose is so good in that movie too. Obviously, Beyonce and Jennifer Hudson like kill it, but you know, I feel like that's like. At that point, I had expected that the first time I had seen that movie, but like I didn't know who Anika Noni Rose was at the time. Anyways,
Wait, this is called Dreamgirls? I'm sorry, I've never heard of it.
You've never heard of Dreamgirls?
You've
No.
never
Why
heard
Eddie
of
Murphy was
Dreamgirls?
up for supporting actor for it.
I know. I've never. I'm just curious about
I
it. Yeah.
also haven't seen it.
Well, when
but-
you said it, I was like, but then I was like, that's Showgirls. I immediately started
No,
thinking
no,
that
not
cover.
Showgirls.
No,
Definitely
not Showgirls, dog.
No, no.
Different movie.
When did Dreamgirls come out?
The Dreamgirls came out. Oh my god, Dreamgirls came out in
You
2000,
keep going, Alexis. I'm sorry.
2009,
Actually, can you pull up the Wikipedia page and read me the
2006.
2006.
It is a Tony Award-winning musical that was turned into a movie in 2006. The original musical, I think, came out, I want to say in like the 70s or 80s, and Jennifer Holliday, who originated the role that Jennifer Hudson's in this movie, actually recorded one of the songs as a single and won a Grammy for it as well.
Oh shit!
So
That's awesome.
got really good music. I think I would probably like it better as a stage production. But I think that the movie's still really solid. Like if you have to have like a musical night, I feel like Dreamgirls is a really solid pick.
Hell yeah.
And then we watch Repo the Genetic Opera. Has anybody seen that?
No, but that sounds pretty fucking
Never even
great.
heard of it.
I watched a couple scenes from that in high school because a couple of my friends were obsessed with it.
It is.
Yeah,
It's definitely like one of those like Who were your friends? Were they like emo kids or like?
He's making that up. He doesn't have
Yeah,
friends.
that sounds
Yeah,
like
no,
a
it's a lie.
lie.
I watched those scenes alone in my parents' den.
I know.
Yeah, no. So it's a musical that was written by Trent Reznor.
What?
Yeah, of Nine Inch Nails. And I believe the other guy, Atticus Rose or something. Anyways.
Atticus Ross.
Atticus Ross. Alexa Vega from the Spy Kids movies is in it. The guy who plays Giles in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the TV series, is in it. Sarah Brightman, who I don't remember if she originated the role of Christine Daae on Broadway in Phantom of the Opera, but she's like a pretty like famous like singer. She's in it randomly. Paris Hilton is in it.
What the fuck is this
This
movie?
is the best cast of all
It
time.
is like
Alexis, what is this about?
okay, so like basically it takes place in this world where it's like the future. Pretty much like, I don't know, like shit's been going down, you know, everything's kind of toxic in the world. So like people's organs are like failing. And so there's this company called GeneCo that kind of like takes over because they like allow people to get like organ transplants. But everything has like, you know, like a barcode on it. And so that like if you can't pay what you need to pay for your payment plans on your new organs, they can repossess them. So it's like, you know,
I think that's the plot of Repo.
Yeah, I was
Man.
just going to say, that is the movie Repo Man.
it's just a remaking as a musical with music that Trent
That's
Reznor
so
has
That's
made.
hilarious.
I had, okay, so this is like a movie that we kind of like talked through the movie instead of just watching the movie, because the beginning it's bad. It's really
I don't believe
Yeah,
it.
that sounds like a great film. What you're describing is a
used to be a-
masterpiece.
I think that
This industry used to be a fucking proper industry. We used to make things.
there's this guy who plays like the grave robber, and he's kind of great in pretty much every scene. But I think like a lot of the songs that are in the first half of the movie just kind of don't quite go like. Musically, they're just not great, and you think to yourself, like, sure, I mean, we all love Nine Inch Nails, but do we want to listen to a full industrial album musical, you know? Like, I'm not sure.
Yes.
Like, sure.
I am.
Watch Repo Man, the genetic opera, and then get back to me on that, okay?
Like I will.
I'm shocked you haven't seen that, Zach.
I'm shocked I haven't either. I had no clue this existed until I saw Alexis log it on Letterboxd. And I was like, what the fuck is that?
I do love though that like Paris Hilton's character is like addicted to like surgery, and like the grave robber guy gets like dead people juice out of like their like desiccated like bodies, and then like shoots people with it like as like a painkiller before they have surgery. And so you just have this one scene where like Paris Hilton is like, you're like a fucking goth girlfriend, like hella vibe, and she's like grave robber, like up against a wall, and he like shoots her with that, and then she goes and gets like some surgery done because she's like addicted to it, and she fucks up her face at one point, and then just totally has like a new face. So like at one point, like her face is actually like falling off of her face. Anyways,
That's fun.
It's a very, very interesting movie. The final act really brings it all together, strangely enough. Like, you think to yourself, how can we thought about turning it off a few times, to be honest, but we're like, no, it's fine, we'll get through it. But then the last act, we were like, does this kind of slap? I don't know. Yeah, the finale was pretty great, actually.
This sounds exceptional.
And this is a documentary?
You know, I don't even know what I watched, to be honest. Like, there's a lot of intercutting with like almost like comic book panels. I think because you kind of can't fully understand the story just from the songs, which is, you know.
Wait, so is everything sung? Like, is it like truly like kind of an opera?
No, which is why I was explaining to my friends, I was like, it's not truly an opera, because they were like, so is this like an opera? I was like, no, because in opera they sing everything, and an opera is a tragedy. And I was like, well, this seems like it's probably going to be a tragedy, so like that fits. But they're talking more, so this is technically more of a musical. But there is, towards the end, more operatic singing. Anyways, I don't know. I
can't wait to see this.
It's kind of like one of those movies where it's like, you just watch it, because then you can be like, well, I fucking watched that.
Hell yeah.
And I will.
Yeah, I have it on
Alexis,
DVD.
thank you for your journalism, your research into the world of what's possible in film. I appreciate it.
You're so welcome. Yeah, I've also been trying to tackle some of your list. Mick, have you been watching anything?
Nothing.
Okay,
No, I've just been working.
Just working on the boat. Okay, great. Well, then that's perfect, because I actually watched so much shit this week. Zach, what have you been watching?
The only thing that I watched that I hadn't seen before was Slumber Party Massacre. I've been working so much this week. I did watch, from my horror movie list, I think the one that it had been longest since I've seen was Excision, which was a really good watch. That's a, nasty little movie, which features John Waters.
Oh.
Nice.
Oh.
Playing a priest.
That sounds nasty.
That sounds nasty, yeah.
Yeah.
I have watched a couple movies off your list. I'm not watching them in your list order because I can't.
How dare you?
Bad. But I did watch Oculus last night, and
Yeah.
in all,
Not a
it's
fan.
okay. You know, I like the concept. I like Karen. Is it Gilliam?
Gillen. Yeah.
Because she was in Doctor Who, but I feel like she's kind of in this. I don't know. I feel like
she had not mastered an American accent in that. I feel like both of the leads of Oculus are kind of fighting with their accents a little bit.
I think also just in general, maybe she just. You ever just look at people's some people's older performances, and you're just not quite there for the heaviness of what's in the script, you know?
Yeah, I could see that. That
I
makes
think
sense.
her and the boy who played her brother. I mean, the people who played the parents were really great. But I think that there was something just a little bit lacking in the two leads.
I just love Slater from Dazed and Confused as the dad. It kills me.
Oh my god, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it's wild.
That's Slater from Dazed and Confused?
That's Slater. Yeah, that's Slater. It's the only other movie I've ever seen him in, and they're 35 years apart.
Oh my god.
That's fucking crazy.
I have to go look at that now. That's crazy. Okay, I'll do that later. I did also watch The Faculty, which I like that one a lot more. That one was really fun.
Faculty's fun.
That was really fun. Josh Hartnett at that era was just very cute. I wouldn't say he's hot, but I bet you if I had watched that when I was a preteen teenager, I would be like, oh my god, he's a drug dealer and he's anti-establishment. He's so hot, you know? And Usher's on.
Yeah.
I sent Zach a screenshot of the fucking poster, and I was like, why is Usher on this poster? He's in the movie for 10 seconds.
Yeah. Well, thank you for keeping up with the list, Alexis.
You're welcome. I'm trying. I honestly, I really liked it. The creature design was really fun. I did not expect it to be that enormous at the end. And I really loved that Elijah Wood was our final girl. That was so great, actually. Especially because,
now
somebody makes...
you have sold me on this movie.
Elijah Wood
what
kind of... When you think about it, kind of a Scream King.
I actually was going to bring that up. Yeah. Yeah, no, that was, especially because, I think earlier somebody was like, when did you become the Ripley of this group? And I think kind of, gives, a subtle foreshadowing that, he's actually going to be the final girl. I also think it's really funny that the fucking powder shit that Josh Hartnett's been cooking up, Also crazy. You go to this fucking 18-year-old's like house and he's got like a full chemistry setup because he's just like selling drugs at school, and that's what fucking dries out the aliens. It's great. Honestly, you should definitely watch it.
I should. Yeah.
I will.
Yeah,
That
Kevin
sounds fun.
Williamson script.
Really?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Who's?
All right.
And then
Kevin Williamson wrote the script.
And then I rewatched 13 Ghosts because I was like, I'm in a very Matthew Lillard.
Of course you did.
Hey, you know what? I feel like that's just got to be like at least a like every 2 years, like spooky season watch for me. The movie's not great. Okay, listen, I know it in my heart, but I love it. I think that the character designs for the ghosts are pretty fucking bitchin', actually. I think that the lore, that there could be so much cool lore behind these, like, ghosts, and that the overall concept of, like, summoning, I don't know, the fucking Eye of the Devil or whatever the fucking shit it is, by using these, like, 12 to 13, like, ghost spirits is really cool. And if they had actually done it well, it would have been really fucking cool, you know?
And like most movies only have one ghost.
And
But this one has
this,
13.
what this movie posits is that there's
13 of them.
I actually have not seen that, but I
12.
have only ever... Oh, do it.
12. There's 12. Okay.
Oh. Well, then why is it
that's
called
a dumb
13
name.
Ghosts?
Because there's the 13th ghost that has to be made by sacrificing themselves. So they're not a ghost yet, but there's technically 13 ghosts that are needed to, like, open the, I don't know, the Eye of Hell or whatever the fuck it is.
Is there ever a 13th ghost?
Technically, yes, because at the very end, Matthew Lillard comes back to tell Tony Shalhoub, you got this, bro.
Tony Shalhoub.
No! Okay, I'm putting that on immediately.
It's months.
Alexis,
So many
Alexis,
flash
you have
frames.
been bringing up
That is awesome.
the most fucking buck wild casts
Yeah, this
on
is
the
I
podcast.
like it.
today.
Alexis, you went someplace weird this last week. That's good.
I
We
did.
need that on
You-
this show.
You're in a
And-
strange zone.
And I wrapped it all up. Technically, I saw this before 13 Ghosts, but I was like, since we're going to be doing the movie that we're doing, I was like, I got to get some more Matthew Lillard in my life. So I'm gonna knock a movie that's been on my watch list for pretty much since high school. SLC Punk from, I believe it's 1998. Yes.
I really want to see that. That's been on my
That
watch
is-
list
Also,
forever.
do, and I saw your review, Alexis. It got me fucking jazzed. I was like, I need to see this movie immediately.
So back on the Tumblr days, I used to see stills from this movie, like, all the time, like, little quotes, you know, like, out of context, or whatever. Mick, I'm just going to say, you can't be judgy about me being on Tumblr when you were literally preppy in high school. I'm sorry, your opinion doesn't matter. You were a
Preppy?
bro. Yeah, you're a bro. You're a popular, like, kind of like bro dude. So, you know,
No, I was not
You're not
popular.
allowed- not allowed to have
No,
an
he was a bro, but he wasn't popular.
Yeah, I was-
like he had the aesthetics of being preppy, but without the
without
social
the-
I
benefits.
was in
The
drama. I
benefits?
was in drama class. That's where my world was.
drama class and a tank top.
What's with the tank
Raindrop.
top? What tank top?
I've seen a picture of you with a bunch of kids from, like, high school, and you guys are all in tank tops. And,
I haven't seen that photo.
yeah.
I've seen it.
Yeah, it's
See, you don't
pretty
even
bad.
remember.
Makes me feel pretty good. Alexis, what did you think about SLC
I
Punk?
fucking loved it. I think that is, like, probably going to be in, like, my top 25 movies.
Of all time?
Kind of, yeah.
Damn.
I think that Matthew Lillard is, like, really underrepresented as an actor. He's really fucking good.
Oh, yeah.
And I
Just for
actually
a second,
recently...
I love film majors because it's like you'll watch a movie and you're like, that movie, fantastic, easily in my top 47 movies. Like, we'll just like wherever it lands, like that's the size of the list for that context.
As we get older, that's only gonna get
Yeah,
worse.
it's just terrible.
Yeah, well, so it basically is about like kind of Matthew Lillard's character and the 1985 punk scene in Salt Lake City, Utah, which I think in general it's like a great character study of obviously him, but also the punk scene. And I think it's really interesting to have, like obviously Salt Lake City, Utah, there's Mormons, but even in the movie they mention that like the Mormons aren't necessarily like the majority of the people there, but everything is so affected by Mormonism, and you can just kind of tell that like the radicalism of the punk scene is, kind of in like a direct opposition to like some of that, you can always tell like subcultures based on like, like kind of what it's in opposition to.
What the dominant culture is.
Yeah, so like there's definitely some like Puritanism type of stuff, I'm sure going on in the background. Matthew Lillard's character's really great because he's just, he's almost contrary to be contrary, he believes, in anarchy and chaos is like his main tenets. And I really enjoyed it because like I was kind of like I was kind of a metalhead like the first year that I was in high school, but then like a lot of my friends that I had in like the metal and hardcore scene kind of pivoted into the rave scene. And one of his last lines at the end of the movie is, I guess when it all was said and done, I was just a trendy ass poser. And I just thought it was really funny. I don't know how married people are to their subcultures and kind of like the pillars that they believe about their own subcultures and how to stick to it and who's a poser has always been very interesting to me because, especially when people are in like high school and like kind of coming out of high school, if you are in a certain subculture, but you don't stick to it, like I remember being in high school and fucking hiding the fact that I had Taylor Swift on my fucking iPod, because I was like, well, that's not cool,
It's not hardcore.
But I fucking loved that first album. And fucking Jason Segel is in this movie, and he plays this guy named, what is his name? Eric? Something. Anyways, and he's
cool. Great.
He is like the most punk person in the movie by Matthew Lillard's standards. Like Matthew Lillard's character literally says, this guy, he might look like a fucking square, but this guy is the most hardcore one out of us. And you just see Jason Segel just like kind of like in like a polo button up and like some like khaki slacks, with like glasses. Shit. And he's just like kind of at a rock show, at a punk show. And he's just kind of like, moving his head. But then he sees like some dude start to punch his friend. And he's like, oh, excuse me. I have to go take care of something. And then he just like comes through the fucking like pit and gets up on that stage and just starts beating the shit out of the lead singer of this band. And I was like, hell yeah. My fucking people.
Nice.
Fuck awesome. Yeah. And also, this has the most accurate, other than like fucking Requiem for a Dream and Trainspotting, accurate representation of like drug enhanced experiences. Like,
Alexis,
yes.
You must watch Human Traffic. If you want like accurate depictions of like high school, what it feels like to be at a high school party, drug-induced conversation and partying, Human Traffic, that I think I reviewed like a year and a half ago on this show, is one of the most accurate things. Okay. Check that movie out.
Yeah, there's a conversation that they have like while they're just smoking pot, and it's like literally the most. It's only a conversation that you would have while you're smoking pot with some guy that you don't like, and then there's this guy Sean who like drops acid. I just love like the lore. They're like, oh yeah, whatever happened to Sean? It's like, oh, he was getting chased by the police and he had like a sheet of acid in his pocket, but he went through some sprinklers, and so all the acid ended up like soaking into his pants, and he's just fried now. And then you see Sean later, and you're like, yeah, that dude's fucking fried.
Well, I will definitely check that out. We should probably start wrapping this segment up.
Yeah, this was a good Alexis Majors. That was good, done. Alexis.
Yeah, Alexis, thank you for doing the work, and let's hop out of what's going on. we're back. We're friggin' back.
We're so
done
back.
with our big segment. And we are into our final big topic of spooky season. Guys, it went by so fucking quick. I always forget that there's like one non-spooky season. God damn it, Mick. Mick, stop commenting on shit the audience can't see.
I want to take that down.
Aw, Michi.
She smells so good. She just got groomed yesterday.
She looks very nice. She looks so
She
clean.
got a little bandana too.
Oh, this is good. Describe her more.
Yeah.
So, our final big topic for spooky season. We're talking about who the most fuckable slashers are.
Hell yeah.
Where Mick had like a really like kind of thoughtful, interesting big topic he threw out.
Which I'll probably I'll talk about it when we talk about the movie. But this is good too, because this is something that just gives me the fizz, man.
This is just very film majors, I feel.
Yes,
It's
this is more film
literally-
majors coded.
This is a conversation that we had together before we were doing the podcast, and I'll start us out on this because we talked about this in 2021 with the release of the new Candyman film. Because I was like, I feel like Candyman is probably the most fuckable slasher villain, and like people don't talk about this enough. I feel like people sexualize other slashers when Candyman is like this handsome man with a deep booming voice who's like got good style and is romantic. You know, be my victim. Like I will. You know.
Wait,
You asked so nicely.
do they have to be slashers? Like can it just be a villain in like any subgenre of horror? Like can we put some supernatural stuff in here? Because there are some ghosts that I want to be ravaged by.
I think let's try to keep it to slashers. Who are you thinking of in terms of ghosts?
Well, I wouldn't say ghost like in this specific example, but one of my
Candyman is technically a ghost, but I
Yeah.
feel like he gets lumped into the slasher category.
my pick definitely counts. This is a horror villain that the
If
moment
you say Freddy Krueger, that's fucked up.
No, the moment I saw her, I fell absolutely in love, and it's no accident due to the person that plays her. But a movie that I think is quite good is Mike Flanagan's Dr. Sleep, starring Rebecca Ferguson as Rose the Hat, who plays this like Romani witch queen. And she wears a top hat, and she murders children and sucks the essence out of them to keep her
bury
in.
yourself. Don't fucking care. She's allowed.
And oh my god, every time I watch that movie, I'm like, this movie is so hot. It has a Ewan McGregor that is struggling with substance abuse. How can this get any sexier? And then it's Rebecca Ferguson that's just like sucking mist out of people and then shotgunning it into the mouths of her other like cohorts. And I'm like, what? Why this? Excellent. Mike Flanagan, A++, sir. Yes. Give me more.
Okay.
But you got to admit, we've all seen Dr. Sleep, right?
Oh yeah, I love Dr. Sleep.
Great movie. Great movie.
Fan-fucking-tastic.
Because I fell asleep,
Alexis?
remember?
Oh, yeah. You were Dr. Sleepy.
I was Dr. Sleep.
You were Dr. Sleep.
Okay. Well, I feel like I feel like we should keep it to slashers because I think it makes it a little bit harder. I feel like if we widen it out to like the broader world of ghosts and supernatural entities, like there's a lot of like sexy ghost ladies out there. There's a lot of sexy vampires, and I feel like let's challenge ourselves because Rose the Hat, like no fucking shit. God damn, I would do things.
Yeah.
Wait,
Drew, who you got?
Oh god, slashers. I mean, I do think the Scream franchise has a myriad of hotties.
Just-
Well, let's fucking wait for
Just
it.
going
Okay?
right
Let's
in
wait
there,
for it
Drew.
until we're
Goddamn.
talking about the movie,
You didn't,
Drew.
you
How
didn't
about you
even
even wait for us to
patient?
lube
Drew,
it
you
up,
didn't
man?
even spin on it first, bro. You gotta,
Come on, bro.
on.
What are you talking about? We
gotta
we
lube it
go
up.
around, we talk about
You gotta
other stuff,
prepare
and then
us.
we talk about the movie.
Yeah, give me a little bit
Were
of
we
a
talking about
Open.
fuckable slashers?
Well, yeah, we
Am I
use
not
that
allowed
as
to pick?
you can't pick that yet.
You can't
Come
just
on,
open
we use
it
that as
up.
a
You gotta wait
transition
until
point.
it's slip
It's
through
like
the
you don't
holes.
even listen
for
to
a
the
reason,
show.
because you
Yeah.
segue.
That was
Yeah,
more of a
I like
Paul
the
fart
I
than a
like
Paul
yeah I
Blart.
like the naked dad on the
dick.
roof in It Follows. I also like the chick in the kitchen just absolutely pissing onto those tiles.
What?
Yeah, probably those two.
Hold on.
I missed this.
All I heard was I'll have to take that woman just pissing all over the tile.
I said
You heard it.
I'll pick two It Follows iterations: the naked dad on the roof and the woman in the kitchen just pissing on those tiles.
See, these
I
topics
forgot
are always
about
so
that
good because
part.
you
I'm gonna
learn
have to
so
rewatch
much
that
about
movie.
someone.
Say that again, Alexis.
These topics are so good because you learn so much about a person through them.
Hey, I started with a normal one. I was pushed here.
Alexis, who you got?
Okay, well, does it count as a slasher? It doesn't, does it?
No, he's a monster.
You're
You're just trying to find it.
Hold on,
You're trying to find a
Hold on, you want to fuck Pennywise?
Yes, Bill Skarsgård. What do you think? This isn't how. It's not hard to see how she got here.
There's logic there. Also, I was thinking about this.
You know her.
I was thinking about this, and I feel like the perfect situation would be actually stuck in a
God.
nightmare on. Shut up, Mick. Let me cook. Okay? We'd be stuck in a Nightmare on Elm situation where I'm stuck in a nightmare. But my nightmare is being fucked by Pennywise.
A wet dream on Elm Street.
Alexis, I feel like you're not understanding the core concept
Yeah,
of Nightmare
this
on Elm
is
Street.
that is a
It's
penny,
not-
Alexis. That is a penny for your thoughts, but thoughts is spelled
It's not a guy you want-
T-H-O-T-S.
It's not a guy you want to have sex with appears in your dreams and has sex with you.
Yeah, that's not what the
I
big
can
topic
see
is.
how you got confused, but it is in fact about a guy with knives for fingers who kills you in your dreams.
Sure, but like
I
it
like-
would
I
start
like your
out
idea.
that way, and then Freddy would get to chasing me, and I'd be like, "Oh, I'm in a horror movie," you know. But I would have died having checked something off my list, you know.
All right, I'm gonna throw out the obvious fucking answer. Pearl.
Yeah,
I would not
yeah,
fuck
because you
Pearl.
want to fix her.
I would. It wouldn't be hard.
Yeah.
Like I could. I just simply wouldn't be weird about it. I'd be a little weird about it.
X or Pearl?
Well, in terms of movie?
No, in terms of which Pearl iteration you want to, you know.
Oh, X.
Yeah, definitely.
Nice, that's what I thought.
Definitely.
Listen, you know.
Swing low, sweet chariots.
Hey,
Costco guys.
you know, you have to age wine, right?
This is a disgusting.
It's a more
episode.
complex flavor.
Jesus.
Mick, I don't know what you're talking about. This is a normal episode for normal guys. We got anybody else who is a slasher?
I'll give you
Because
some.
so far Pennywise
Yeah.
is not cutting it.
I'll say the a more recent one, the Electric Lady from Strange Darling. She has some smoldering intensity that's interesting. You know, when I watched that movie, I wasn't like, oh, I'm very attracted to this, but you know. If I was in a small town and I met her in a bar and she offered me all sorts of things, and who knows what would happen,
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I think I don't know if I can be into what she's into.
I'm not saying it would go well. I'm not saying I would
No.
expect the results to be different. I'm just saying that I could fall into that trap.
Oh yeah, no, me too. But I feel like once I'm there, I'm not having a good time.
Also-
like, pretty much from the jump.
Not a slasher, but horror villain. Talking about falling into a trap, fucking the other mother. God damn, bro.
Oh my god,
The
you
other
gotta
mother?
Yeah,
Are we talking
from
about the front room?
from Coraline.
From Coraline.
Oh, yeah.
From the front room.
No, I was like, what?
Oh God, no. Wait, did you see the front room?
Yeah, Mick's answer is Catherine Hunter from The Front Room.
Drew, did you see that movie?
No, but
okay.
no. I don't know why I thought you were saying that.
That's insane.
That's a dark place.
Who else?
Probably Michael
Myers. Why?
Mike Myers from Shrek?
What's
dominant.
Yeah, no, okay, so I thought about this, and no, because he's clearly, like, mentally stunted as a child, so not cute.
Yeah, but don't you
He's
like
got that
Braun?
ripped
I also thought about Braun, but then I was like, no, because he's mentally stunted as a child, so it's actually not cute.
Yeah.
I'm glad you have a line.
You do,
But
bro.
Freddie's-
I'm glad
Freddie's-
you draw a line someplace.
You know
That's
what's
good.
funny
Yeah.
is like the line isn't really a straight line because I've really been thinking about the slasher genre and I just can't come up with anything other than monsters. So I don't know.
Alexis is a monster fucker.
She's a monster fucker.
This has been a great discussion of our big topic, but
No, it
as
hasn't.
Drew
But
fucking
what's the movie?
Well, the only slasher I could think of was the one that's our segue.
oh man!
All right.
Well, as Drew
Is Squidward a monster? Oh, all right, Alexis, calm down.
as Drew stated earlier, the reason we're talking about this is because there's some pretty sexy slashers in the franchise started by today's film, 1996's horror mystery Scream. Here is the Jujel description.
The what?
I thought we were talking about Alan Ball's Treem.
Wes Craven reinvented and revitalized the slasher horror genre with this modern horror classic, which manages to be funny, clever, and scary as a fright-masked knife maniac stalks high school students in middle-class suburbia. Craven is happy to provide both tension and self-parody as the body count mounts, but the victims aren't always the ones you'd expect.
That's like half.
That's not a description of the movie.
That's like half of like a review kind of thing. Like
Also, whoever wrote the phrase "fright masked knife maniac," like, what? I feel like that's AI. I feel like AI came up with this description.
where is their screenplay? I want to read that.
God, that is like a hell of a turn of phrase. Okay, I'm gonna throw it to Drew first. What's your relationship to Scream, and how do you feel this time watching it?
Yeah, actually, I saw Scream kind of later than I feel like most people saw Scream. I saw Scream when I was 19, 20, first apartment in LA, and I had a little bit of a stigma that was
Stigma balls in your mouth?
Exactly like that. From childhood, where I was like, these classic slashers, I just felt like there was something about... I just was nervous. I was like, these probably aren't going to be good, and how wrong I was. I watched Scream. The first time, first of all, Scream is a comfort movie, in my opinion. It's like a warm comfort movie, like almost famous in my
Emphasis
mind.
on the
totally
warm
agree.
come.
Exactly. Fort movies.
I
gross
hate
Hey, he said warm
Not a grossest episode. We've already rated one as a gross episode. Which one was it? I can't remember now, but it's already been done.
I don't know.
I think that was a Muppets Christmas Carol was our grossest episode.
Probably.
Was that or Dracula?
Drew, please
That's the one, yes.
continue.
That movie, Scream, took me on an absolute ride where I genuinely, like, how Billy is treated in that movie to me is like complete confident genius. Like, every time you feel like as a viewer, you're like, maybe it's like the most perfectly timed writing where right as you start to think that, it throws you off onto another path. And I like that final act is just such a fucking, just bludgeons you. And it also, like, it's funny and it's like, I wouldn't call Scream a parody, I would call it like, it does parody the genre a little bit, but it's not, like, I wouldn't call it a parody. But that ending also, like, it does a couple things. It talks about film in a really clever, funny way, but it also doesn't just do that. Like, it ties all of the story together in such a crazy loop that feels just perfect, and you're just like, oh, this... I don't know. It just feels like it's like a perfect puzzle. This time around, I showed it to a friend who had never seen it. She loved it.
Fuck yeah.
And it's just the fucking best. It's just comfort. It's like, I mean, there's so much to say about it. I love the structure. I love that the whole second half is the party. Like, it's just so fun.
Yeah.
I love yours.
Yeah, I always forget how like Scream is a pretty long movie.
Yeah.
Like
I was gonna say
almost
that.
2 hours.
Yeah,
and it doesn't feel like it.
When I had to, I've been very busy, obviously, with work, so I don't have a lot of free time, so I have to time it out to watch this movie, and I only finished it right before we started recording. And when I looked at the runtime, an hour 51 minutes, I was blown away, because if there's a horror movie that I think of that just flies by, it's Scream. This is impeccably paced. My own relationship to this movie, I have got you beat, Drew. I don't think I saw Scream until I was 24, like 23 or 24 was the first.
What?
Yeah. The first time I watched it, I watched it with my my ex-girlfriend at like a Halloween party in Eugene, and there was a very similar environment to the first time I discovered Face Off. It's weird. I was introduced to so many great films at that house. But it was spooky season, and she had a VHS of Scream, and I was like, I've never seen this. And we were all partying, pretty inebriated, and I watched it, and I think I was in awe of how quintessentially 90s it was. Like, I cannot think of a more 90s teen film than Scream. It just kind of like, it almost like harshed my mellow a little bit, how 90s this movie was. But I remember thinking like, that I knew it was special. Like, I knew I was witnessing something special because it blew my mind, and it is now not a quintessentially 90s film. Now this is like a quintessential spooky season movie for me. Like, this every year, this movie must be seen at least once. It's like, pick your favorite fucking Christmas movie for Christmas. This is that for me with Halloween. You absolutely have to watch it. I adore this film.
Alexis?
I'm sure I have all of you beat on having watched it earliest. Because I don't even remember when's the first time I watched it. I just know that we had it recorded on VHS. Like, we didn't actually have a VHS of it. We recorded it.
You taped it off a TV.
Nice.
So,
Hell yeah, dude.
So there's always like the very beginning that's like kind of fuzzy, and then it comes in like kind of in the credits before the phone rings at Casey Becker's house. And I think there's something
if this was taped from TV, did they cut out all the good bits? Was it edited for television? Which is kind of like their relationship.
Who knows?
I mean, there
is actually no good bits though in this, which I don't mean that in like there's things that are missing, but just that they don't show
no
tits in this movie.
God, and that scene where they don't is awesome. When you're cutting between
Said no one ever.
You fucking nerd.
It's awesome.
I'll be watching Slumber Party Massacre. Thank you very much. No, yeah, it's a good bit.
This is a movie that raised like 2 generations of my family. Because I love this movie because my sister loves this movie, and she would watch it over and over again, and so I would watch it over and over again. And I don't know, I don't think I actually like understood how good it was until I continued to watch it over my lifetime and just realized how good it was the more that I watched other horror movies. And I was like, oh, it's so meta, and and I understood how it had redefined the genre. I watched it so early that I was just like, oh, I really like this. This is a really cool movie,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I had kind of a similar experience when I watched Scream for the first time, because I watched it, I think maybe my freshman year of high school. Like, before I was really watching a lot of horror movies, it was on Netflix, and I just, like, watched it by myself. Mm-hmm. And, like, I don't think my family really had a relationship to this movie, because, like, you know, Edwin is only a couple years older than me and was born the year this came out.
I think we saw Scream at the exact same window of time.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Pretty similar. Yeah, like Edwin was, you know, roughly my age, so like didn't see this movie when it came out, and like I don't know if my parents did, but like my mom was never big into horror movies, and my dad, I think, was like a horror kid growing up, but like he, you know, the horror movies he would have seen would have been like the early Carpenter stuff, like, you know, he saw The Thing. So like I just kind of found this movie myself. I think it was in my 501 must-see movie book. So I was like, oh, it's on Netflix. I'll check it out. And yeah, I really liked it. I was kind of like blown away by the twist of the movie. I didn't go into this expecting it to be a movie with like a crazy reveal. I'm like, oh, it's just like, this is just like a slasher movie. And then, yeah, as like I've, you know, gone on and watched the, you know, Sleepaway Camp and Slumber Party Massacres of the world, I realize, you know, what a kind of like towering achievement in the slasher genre this movie is, because like, I think the thing that stood out to me on this rewatch, which I also showed someone who had never seen it, which was great, so much fun, is like the dialogue does not have to be this good in a slasher movie, like, and it almost never is. Like I cannot think of a single other slasher film, not horror film, because there's lots of great characters in horror, but like I can't think of a single other slasher movie that has characters as well defined as this movie, that is as quotable as this movie. Like, and everybody kind of gets like their memorable line. Like, you know, Tatum's got her, you want to come over and watch All the Right Moves? I've heard if you watch it, if you pause it at the right moment, you can see his penis. Like, you know, fucking
God, they have multiple too, because when you said Tatum, I was like, wham, bitch goes down.
Yeah,
like,
also
when you said Tatum, I was like,
Sid,
please,
super
Mr.
bitch.
Ghostface, I want to be in the sequel. Like, she's got a bunch of bangers.
Yeah, that's just fucking Tatum.
I
like,
love her with the fucking lollipop, and she's like, stupidity leak.
Everyone has something fucking memorable in this movie. Everyone has memorable dialogue, and that is like this really is the only slasher movie where I'm like, the dialogue is so memorable.
Maybe the most quotable, one of the most quotable movies out there.
Yeah, it's craady. It doesn't have to be like that.
And it's like everything out of Matthew Lillard's mouth is a quote in that
Leave
movie.
her alone.
He elevates this movie so much. MVP.
Yeah, do we... So, you know, I said this on our last episode, if I have to do a spoiler alert for Scream for you shouldn't be listening to this podcast, because we've talked about this movie ad nauseum. It is like our most shared film. It is the movie we most agree on. Stu and Billy.
Can I, before we move on from like the very big top of this, I just want to bring up Jackson, because this movie is, I think, the first horror movie that he like officially watched. Like, he grew up watching, you know, like The Walking Dead and things like that. But this is the first horror movie that he saw, and he was like 3. Okay.
Jesus Christ.
I understand how this kid is how he is already.
And I didn't put it on for him. He just like was playing, and like I had the movie on, right? And then a few days later, he just like came up to me. He's like, "Can you put on the monster movie?" And I was like, "The monster movie?" And then he's like, "Yeah, the monster." And I was like, "Scream?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Okay." And I just think if you can capture a 3-year-old's attention with a movie that is like this long, and also with so many adults, and also like a lot of like really clever dialogue, like you've really made something that is just like I don't know.
To be fair,
yeah.
is that because of how good Scream is, or is that just because
Jackson's the coolest kid alive?
I think you could argue that's just more because
there.
Jackson is built different.
Jackson is built different.
Jackson, like, I gotta meet this kid. He's the coolest kid in the world. The more you tell me about him, the more I like him. But it's funny that he was really into this when he was 3, because this is something that I believe I was told by my mom, is when I was, like, 3 years old, I was, like, at our place on Halloween night, like, with my mom handing out candy, and some teenager came to the door in a ghost face mask and looked down at me and then pressed a button, and the mask like leaks blood.
I had that mask. Yeah.
I apparently lost it. Like, I was so scared. I was so fucking scared.
You know what?
So
that was something that I never picked up on until watching it today, but a good trivia question is, what is the name of that costume in the movie?
Is it Hooded Death?
No. It's Father Death.
Father
Death.
Papa Death.
I never noticed that before. I've always just thought it was Ghostface. But that's
Daddy
really
Death.
interesting. That was a little detail I picked up on today.
I think they found that costume at like some random little costume shop in California, right?
No, so I was watching the behind the scenes of this movie. The mask was actually a big issue for them in this movie, because apparently, like, the script for Scream was so Drew's kind of half right in that they were like scouting a potential shooting location, and they saw the mask, basically exactly what the mask became, and they were like, oh, okay, we finally got the mask, because they don't really specify what Ghostface looks like in the script. It just says his ghost face in like the slug lines. And so Wes Craven was like, what does that mean? So yeah, they find this mask, and like they love the look, and like, but don't have the rights, so they're like trying to redesign it, and eventually just had to pay for the rights, because they were like, we can't do a better version of this than this mask. And then the cloak kind of came into it, because they were like figuring out how to make something work with this mask, because they were like, okay, it can't just be like just this mask, that would look insane. And also like the cloak kind of came out of it because just like practically, with the twist of this movie being that there's 2 killers, and it being kind of a whodunit, you have to conceal their whole body to make it believable that it could be anybody under there. So they eventually landed on like full body cloak, gloves, like, yeah, I love the twist of this movie. It is like, it's so smart.
Really quickly though, about that mask, like, and Zach, that experience you had with like the blood coming down, is I feel like what all of us on this podcast has at one point owned a ghost face mask, right? Like it has gone trick or treating in it.
No.
And it's like, you've never had that? Like, oh, that surprises me.
I don't
you,
own a ghost face mask.
I've told you 50 times I was a witch every year.
Oh, that's right. I was Groucho Marx one year. I was a weird fucking little kid.
I was Charlie Chaplin.
Really? That's why we're friends. This is why we're friends.
God. Alexis was so much cooler than us when she was a kid.
I don't know. That's what I would say. I was like obsessed with pretty much anything that had magic in it, which, should just be like, that's a fucking nerd right there.
Yeah, fair enough. But also, like, dressing as a witch when you're going to Catholic school is pretty punk rock.
That's pretty punk.
For
sure. Matthew Lillard approves.
Little rebellions after school. So I also did run away from school and got the cops called on the school. So
Obviously this movie came out in 1996, but I think my earliest memories of trick or treating in my neighborhood are probably when I was like 4 or 5 years old. So that was it. It's probably 2000, 2001. And the Ghostface was everywhere. Like, this was such a cultural phenomenon. Like, the sequel probably had come out by that point, I'm assuming. But yeah,
Yeah,
three.
We were up to 3 by that point.
Yeah, it's interesting that when I finally did see it, it was like finally getting context to the Halloween costume that I had grown up with and had owned when I was like 6 or 7 years old. So yeah, it's super crazy just how insanely popular this movie was, because it is truly such a good deconstruction of horror by someone that is, Zach, you would say, is on the Mount Rushmore, is a master of the genre. That's like, I was thinking about it today. I'm like, that would be like if Mel Brooks, who did Blazing Saddles, was known for making some of the best Westerns of all time and then hits us with Blazing Saddles. It's like, that's kind of what Scream is to me, where it's like someone who did Nightmare on Elm Street and other fucking bangers then comes out with this, which is like, I mean, Wes Craven didn't write this, right? He just directed this.
No, this is a Kevin Williamson script.
He was the perfect guy to direct this, because he fucking knows what he's doing. I can't think of another horror movie. I'll go full stop. I can't think of another movie off the top of my head that is more conscious of exactly where the audience is in the palm of their hand at any given fucking moment. Absolutely pulls the audience along for a ride. Like what Drew said earlier, we're like, I've seen this movie so many times, and every time I watch it, I totally buy in to all of the different possibilities. I just expect the movie to be different every time I see it. It's that well written. Yeah. So good.
And it's insane that the first time you watch it, you get to the video store scene, and it doesn't immediately make you go, oh, it's them. But when you know it and you watch the video store scene, you're like, okay, it's them. It's so confident.
Well, I think that's like the thing about a good twist movie.
Yeah, they
like,
show it to you.
It's so obvious on a like, when I've rewatched this movie, I'm like, they are not doing a good job concealing this at all.
They're
fucking all.
It's called tact.
Yeah, like the number of times where Billy has to be like, Stu, you are fucking blowing this.
Turn it down.
Like, leave her alone.
I think the thing is, though, is that he's such, like, people just think of Stu as being like a fucking idiot party boy that, like, they can't even, people think it of Billy because he kind of has this, like, looming intensity to him a little bit. But they just, nobody at any point ever says Stu Macher might be the killer. They're all like, okay, maybe Billy, you know. Oh, I think, what is it? Tatum's like, oh, well, no, fucking Randy says, well, maybe you killed her because Stu dated Casey, right?
Casey
has there ever been a movie where the comedic relief was revealed to be the villain?
Where the what?
Other than this movie, the comedic relief, because I think that's kind of why you don't suspect Stu, is because he's such Randy too, but Stu really is like the comedic relief in that movie, and
a lot of the time,
if anything, Randy,
I think
when I first watched this, I first watched this, I think I suspected Randy more than I suspected.
Yeah, because he
Stu.
knows so
like
much.
Even after the bit where he's like sitting on the couch being like, no, you know he's around.
Well,
like,
that's the thing. I mean, there's a famous saying in poker, which is don't play your hand, play your opponent. And this movie so confidently plays on the fact that, I mean, really, they're expecting us to like call their bluff, where it's like, we're gonna make Stu and Billy so obvious that we as an audience think, well, it can't possibly be them because that's so obvious. And then, so we're constantly trying to figure out who the hell, it can't possibly be that. That's just dumb. They're just too obvious. And then when it is them, you're angry at yourself that why did I possibly think it wasn't them? It is brilliant.
Everything up until this point had been like single killers. You know, there's like one single
that was
entity.
also part of the big twist, sure.
Yeah.
Well, and it's like, it's a practical thing with like that's such a, you know, Kevin Williamson being a fan of slasher movies and slasher tropes thing is like, that is a practical solution and explanation to a thing that happens in slasher movies all the time, where it's like, oh, the killer, how is the killer everywhere? Like, how is he
the alibi?
Because there's two of them! Because there's two, like, that's so simple and it's so good. Like, oh, man.
In this movie, too, also really, it dissects horror movies, but it also really dissects horror fans.
And in a much more real sense, it dissects Drew Barrymore.
Yes, it does.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, this was when Drew Barrymore was huge, and this movie was advertised as like a Drew Barrymore film. So that on top just makes the intro to this movie incredible.
Despite her being trying to fucking scab during the strikes, Drew Barrymore, this will not be forgotten. I do have to give her like all the credit in the world for this movie happening. Like, the best version of this movie happening, because this was an incredibly hot spec script. Kevin Williamson wrote this movie in 3 days. Apparently,
wow.
He had like another movie that. Yeah, probably. But he had like another movie that he had sold and wasn't getting made. I can't remember what it was called, but it never actually got made. And he was kind of on his back foot, late on his rent, late on his car payments, and was like, okay, I need to sell something. And was house sitting for a friend and like banged this movie out in 3 days and sent it to his representation. And by the time the weekend was over, there was like a massive bidding war.
Jesus.
Wow.
And
so Miramax acquires this, and they're kind of like, we really want to get Wes Craven for this movie. And Wes Craven didn't really want to do it. Wes Craven always wanted to do rom-coms. He has talked with frequency about how like he really, really wanted to make romantic comedies, and it just never happened.
It kind of sounds like is it Roslyn? No, Evan Peters. He's like, I think I'd like to do a romantic comedy someday, and he just keeps getting put in the most fucked up things.
Everyone's like, shut the fuck up, freak.
Season 14 of American Horror Story.
Like, Wes, I'm sorry, but like you made The Last House on the Left. You never get to make a romantic comedy. I'm sorry.
Oh my god.
you made like one of the most fucked up movies in existence. Rom-coms don't want you. Also, your last name is Craven. He didn't really want to do the movie, and it was only after Drew Barrymore saw the script, came on board, that Wes Craven like took kind of another look at it, and was like, okay, maybe. And the thing that apparently finally pushed him over the edge to make this movie was he was at like some event, and this like 12-year-old kid, like fan of his, came up to him and was like, hey, when are you gonna make another like really kick-ass movie?
Was it Tiny Tarantino?
No, it was Jackson. But like, Wes Craven was like, you know what? Okay, the movies of mine that have really made an impact are the ones that are like kind of fucking nasty and fucked up. Let's do this. And then initially, like, Drew Barrymore was attached to play Sydney. And I think it was 6 weeks out from filming. Like, it was close to them shooting. She was like, I kind of really love this opening scene. And I really want to be in it. I kind of want to play Casey. And, instead of completely panicking, Wes Craven was kind of like, oh, that actually could really do brilliant. Something for us. And it also was kind of a snowball effect with getting great young actors attached, because once Drew Barrymore was attached to this movie, everyone was like, oh shit, Drew Barrymore is doing this horror movie. Like, I'm going to call my representation. I want to do this movie. Yeah. And, got just like one of the great horror movie casts.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that she's not the final girl. That's such a good decision. Neve Campbell is all-timer. Sorry, Mick, go for it.
I was going to say, one last thing about that opening is, I think this is one of the strongest horror movie openings, like cold open, of pretty much any I can think of. It's so perfect. It so sets you into this world, the game that they play, the way that this is a movie is a horror movie about horror movies. And just, there are times when I'll watch this movie and I actually get like emotional in the beginning, where she's been stabbed, she's been strangled, and she like screams for her mom, but her voice doesn't come out. and that is like one of the most tragic fucking things I've ever seen in any movie, like legit. And
the opening of this movie is so much like meaner and nastier than the entirety of the rest of the
punch.
movie.
It's a fucking hook. It is such a strong hook, because then when she calls 911 and she comes out, the mother, and you see this horrific image of her being hung on the swing set. And this was also a first time notice for me when I watched this movie. There's just this weird random establishing shot of Casey's house, but it starts on the branch and pans down and tilts down to this swing set. And I didn't realize it until this watch. I was like, they're fucking foreshadowing how Casey's going to get hung in that tree. And the steam rising from the intestines, and one of the best horror movie screams that I've ever heard is from that mom. And actually, Alexis, your scream that you did for my short Bloody Mary reminds me of hers, which is why I think it's so good.
So it's so funny, because when I watched it this time, I was like, it kind of sounds like the scream that's on the episodes now.
Yeah, that's you. That's all
me.
you.
Someone
That is our horror
movie.
movie music. Yeah, we gotta get you in something, because you have a hell of a fucking scream. What to talk about Scream?
Anybody got any hot takes with Scream? Anything? Any surprising opinions, good or bad?
I have a hot take. It's maybe it's a mild take. It's a quick one. I don't like the title card.
Interesting.
I don't like the font on the title card. I don't like that it's red.
Steal a DVD font.
Yeah, it's the only thing in this movie that looks fucking cheap. I don't like it.
I kind of like
Feels
it
very
because it sets you up to think that, this is going to be one of these movies. And then
I think that's giving a lot of credit to a title card that's not good.
I don't know. Like,
Also,
when I saw it today, like I was like, I kind of like that a little bit. Like, I don't think it's purposeful. I'm not saying they did that. Ooh, let's get a shitty title card. It's just, as an audience member who, admittedly, has seen it a bunch of times, I appreciate it in that sense, it kind of broadcasts that this is going to be a cheap ass slasher.
You know what's interesting about watching this movie, like, soon-ish, kind of after it came out, is that at the time that I watched the movies for the movie for the first time, there weren't cell phones widely available yet. And so, in my house, I'm not even sure we had dial-up internet at that point yet. I mean, like, within like a few years after I probably saw this for the first time, we did. But at the time, we only had one landline. And, like, my sister would, like, have to take the phone, like, in, like, the cord was, like, really long, and she'd take it into her room, but there was one landline in the house. And I think that's kind of, in modern horror movies, everybody has a cell phone, so you go somewhere, and, like, what's the worst thing that can happen? It's like, oh, you have no bars, or your phone's dead, or it gets broken, or something. But in pre-cell phone movies, if you're just out and about, you have no way of contacting anyone. You're alone. There's no way that you can call for help other than just being like, please, someone help me, So I think it's a fun movie because it reminds you of that time when it was so, I don't know, everything was so analog.
Simpler times.
I think that's part of what makes it cozy.
Absolutely.
It's interesting because cell phones are a very, like, prominent plot point in this movie.
Yeah.
With Billy and
with the dad's cell phone that they cloned to make it seem like the calls came from him. Man, their plan is so fucked up. I think
it's great.
That's a thing about the Matthew Lillard performance that I think is so effective, is like everything that he was doing that was funny earlier in the movie is really so fucking sinister at the end. Like, it is like, this is a man who is completely fucking unmoored from reality. Like,
okay, but also it's like, like Billy has like a somewhat, like, I wouldn't say that it's like, oh, okay, that's fair, but like he's like, oh, your fucking slut of a mother, cheated on.
Oh, no. I agree. I don't think it's fair, but I think it's like
It's a reason.
it gives an emotional.
I'm hearing you guys think it's fair.
I think you should, yeah.
But then Stu is just like, haha, whatever, peer pressure. But at the very beginning of the movie, you know that him and Casey did date, and then he even says like, oh, she dumped me for Steve or whatever. So you know that like the reason why they chose Casey as the first victim is because Stu was like, yeah, I don't know, like, she was a fucking bitch.
Fuck her.
Let's just fucking get her, man.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
Steve,
they
I
kill
fucking
her and
hate
her
that guy
boyfriend.
too.
Second
you know?
victim.
So yeah, we're like, I
Technically,
fucking
right?
hate Steve. Let's get her too. You know?
Technically third victim if we count the mom.
Yeah.
Wait, who would the...
which we
wait,
definitely
hold on.
do.
I thought the mom was the first victim.
Then Steve.
Yes, then Steve, then
Oh,
Casey.
right, yeah, Steve.
Yeah.
Right, sure.
We don't count Steve.
The
'cause
mom,
who gives
the
a shit?
mom story loop tie-in at the end. I just think is so.
Yeah,
brilliant.
that's...
Well,
that could have been messy, but it isn't. Like, that's impressive.
It's
I feel
a
like it's
it's a response to Kevin Williamson's friends and agents reading the script and it being kind of a debate as to whether they should have no motive or if they should have a motive. And his like response to that is the Billy speech at the end. It's like, I don't know, did we really decide why Hannibal Lecter wanted to eat people? And then actually giving, his reasoning.
Yeah.
Like, it's
saying we don't have to go this deep,
but we're going
about
to.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
oh man.
Also, one of my favorite weirdly specific casting choices is Liv Schreiber as Cotton.
Yes.
Just like that, like that's like he was a name by this point. Like let's get him.
Was he?
I don't know.
He was more, he was getting more established by this point, and it's like it's fascinating to me that they cast him as someone that just is never placed in the film. You only see him through like television footage, and then he plays like a much bigger part in the sequel, which is great. We love Liv Schreiber coming back. But yeah, every time he shows up, I'm just like, God fucking hell, Liv Schreiber's in this. That's insane.
So
He's a huge reason why Scream 2, I think, works really well.
Yeah, he's very good in Scream 2. He's a very... he had really just gotten started in movies. Like, his first movie's 1994. So this was probably one of the first things he shot.
He's a good casting choice because he looks angry. You look at him and you think this man could have killed somebody for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think it's also just like a good kind of coincidental get, because I doubt they cast him being like, oh, we really need like an actor to play Cotton Weary who says fucking nothing and appears on the TV for 2 seconds. Yeah. But like it really plays to their advantage by the time you get to Scream 2 and you have like a quality actor playing Cotton Weary.
Yeah.
How do we feel about the Scream sequels?
I fucking love them. I love them.
I like them.
Drew showed me the first 3 Scream sequels.
Really?
I watched them for the first time with you.
That's crazy. I love that. I am a huge fan of Scream 2. I would go so far as to say I think Scream 2 is a 5-star movie. I love it. I Scream is better, but I just love it. And I think the openers to what's
Did you know that Matthew Lillard is in Scream 2?
I've heard that. Isn't he like at the party?
He's at the party
like a frat
because
party?
who was he? Who was dating Nev Campbell? I think at the time.
You're so right. He was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's insane.
No, I think.
Nev has good taste.
Yeah. No, the opener to Scream 2 and Scream 4, I think, rival the first one for me. I love those 2 openers. I think they're fantastic.
Have you seen the opening to Scream?
Love it.
We're talking about the same movie, right? Because I would argue that maybe nothing rivals the opening to this movie.
Hey, I respect
There
that.
maybe isn't a better opening to a movie.
I just love seeing the first movie's opener remade on a screen in the second one. I love seeing Heather Graham play Drew Barrymore. Like, it's such a... I almost could see somebody coming into Scream 2 and not seeing Scream 1, and it would be a mistake, but they could kind of get everything story-wise.
I do.
In kind of a different way.
I do really love Scream 3 because it's like, even before I worked in the industry, it's like a little peek into the industry.
Yeah.
There's like really great cameos in it. Like I fucking love
I don't
Carrie
need Jay and
Fisher.
Silent Bob to be in that fucking movie. I do not need Jay and Silent Bob to be in Scream.
Okay, but I needed Carrie
Do you know
Fisher
that
to
Scream is
be in Scream
Strike Back?
3 because it's fucking funny. And also Parker Posey playing Gail Weathers is
Yes.
so
Yes.
iconic.
Parker Posey's fucking
I
good.
love
Parker Posey's
her.
fucking good in
She's
those
so
movies.
good.
Patrick Warburton as the agent in the third one.
Oh my god, yeah, that's good.
That's
I like all the Scream sequels as well, but I do not think any of them like even touch this movie.
Of course
Yeah,
not.
I-
but
Yeah, I'd
like,
only say the second
they're
one.
all of
fun.
them with Alexis, you and I did like a Scream marathon. I
because I
remember
have them
I
on
had never
DVD.
seen I had never seen any of the sequels. I think there's 6 of them now, right?
7.
I don't think there's a
six.
single
6 sequels.
Scream sequel that I
No, there's only 5
Dislike.
sequels out right now.
there's not, but there's 6 total. 6 total Scream films.
There are 6 total Scream movies. The 7th one is in development.
Right. I don't think there's one that I dislike really, except maybe the latest one that takes place in New York. That one has some cool stuff.
Interesting.
The one before it was okay, but the first 4 Scream films, solid. Like every
Yeah,
time I would
ones.
watch it, every time I'd watch the next one and the next one, I'd go, they're still cooking. Like I think I would agree with you, Zach. I don't think any of them touched the first one, but the sequels all justify their existence. They all take it in a fun new direction. You know, I think when we all said that Maxine has Scream 3 energy, that is a compliment to bestow upon that film. I do really like Scream 3. That's a fun fucking movie.
No, I do too, Mick. And a lot of people say that movie like became what it was parodying, and I can see why it does at points. And I know that Kevin Williamson was like, I want the third one to go back to Woodsboro. I personally think setting it on the movie set of Stab is like the perfect escalation.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, no,
because
I
you have,
like that.
You're literally stepping into the world of PTSD over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, my problem with Scream 3 is not the setting. My issue with that movie is that I think the fucking killer is dumb.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
killer is
I
dumb.
agree.
But
Yes,
I think the
but
rest of the
Nika's killer.
movie is so good
Yes.
that, like, so fun that I don't even care that the killer is dumb, which was not how I
I own
felt about Maxine. I cared that the killer was dumb.
Yeah.
I didn't hate the killer. I feel like the reveal of the killer is not effective. I think who the killer is makes sense in Maxine.
I
But
totally agree. It's the how we get there for
This
sure.
is not the Maxine podcast.
Okay, yes.
This is the Scream
Okay,
podcast.
my
And
side
we're-
note though, Scream 2, I just love the like what is it, like homage to like Top Gun.
Yes.
Yeah.
All-timer
So fun.
franchise scene. When he sings to Nev Campbell in the cafeteria.
Oh yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. No, you're so right. Yeah, the only one I don't like is Scream 5. The newest, or not the newest one, but the one right before the newest one with Mikey Madison, who I love, but I hate that movie.
I mean, okay, this is where this is a good segue to the way this relates to our big topic, which is that the Scream killers are like, one, the Scream voice is kind of sexy. The Ghostface
Yeah.
voice is kind
Yeah.
of hot.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it has like kind of a like, I thought we were going out. Like there is kind of a slyness to it. But
Yeah.
then the people under the mask are almost always hot young people.
Yes.
Like, you know, Mikey
Timothy
Madison.
Olyphant in the second movies.
Holy shit.
Yes.
Yeah. Honestly, that
Yes.
might be the single hottest slasher of all time.
Yeah.
You might have
Maybe
nailed
one of
it.
the sexiest slashers. Yeah. He's incredible.
I don't know. He's a film bro. That's not sexy.
It's like
He would have gotten me.
Take it from
If
us.
you're a film bro and you look and sound like Timothy Oliphant, hall
You
pass.
could get away with it.
That is that you get away
You're
with
a
it.
diamond in the rough.
Yeah, but okay. What are some of our favorite? Because this is just such a quotable movie.
Wait, can I do one more hot take?
Oh, throw your hot
that
take
okay?
out. Yeah.
The original title of this film, I like more than the title of the franchise, and it's my only strong opinion that I wish they had stuck with it. It was the original title of Scream is Scary Movie. The Wayans brothers stole it, and they made it a stupid parody of an already parody. And I wish the whole franchise was called the Scary Movie parody. I think if the Scary Movie the Wayans Brothers movies didn't exist, I think it would be like
I don't know.
perfect.
I think that the Scream keeps it on the right side of horror comedy, leaning more horror. I feel like if it's called Scary Movie, that's too winky. I do hate that I am taking the side of Bob Weinstein.
Oh my god!
Yes.
Stop it! No! It's not Harvey, you know.
Well, let's not justify it.
I actually was thinking about this earlier in this episode, was just how much I fucking hate Harvey Weinstein, and just like in Maxine, that is a man who deserves to get his, like, balls crushed. Because it's pretty much his fault that, like, Rose McGowan stopped being in movies for, like, forever. You know how fucking great she is? She redesigned all of the costumes for herself. She saw the shit that they were going to put her in, and she was like, no, Tatum wouldn't wear that. And she took herself to the fucking mall and got a bunch of clothes, came back to the set, and was like, does this work? And Wes was like, I love it. Yeah, let's do it.
I wanted to talk about Rose McGowan, and I was going to bring it up. It wasn't going to be organically because I wanted Alexis to talk about her. And Alexis, thank you for doing that on your own.
You're welcome.
Because this is one of the best victory stories of the making of this. As much as she sounds like she would have been an absolute pain in the ass for the costumes department and costumes designer, like... It was all so good. So, Alexis, could you tell us a little bit more about, like, why she took control of that character and how, and, like, the story behind it?
Okay, so originally the costume designer had a plan to have her in, like, some really, like, kind of tomboy looks. So they had her in overalls and some, like, platform, like, white Keds. So very much nothing like what we understand Tatum as a character. And I think that that's kind of what was going on with Rose McGowan, was that she understood who Tatum was, or at least who she could be. She's a cool girl, you know? Like, you see her on screen and you're like, that's a cool bitch. Like, I wish that was my best friend, you know? And I think that it's such a good... such a good opposite for Sidney Prescott, because Sidney's the one that you feel is so innocent. And I think that if Sidney's friend had also been, like, kind of on the same playing field as, like, a more innocent kind of 90s look, I don't think it would have worked as well for the movie.
Yeah, you need her friend to be a little more outgoing.
Well, that's the thing, is originally this was going to, you have to remember, like, the context in which this came out for teen films is, like, the hot lead was the blonde, and then her sidekick friend was brunette, a little nerdy, a little tomboy, and that trope is just fucking, it's exhausted by this point. And so it's such a good... It subverts that so well by having Neve Campbell, she's brunette, and then you have the sidekick friend be the more... I mean, she even wears, like, a cheerleader outfit where you see, like, her belly button and her breasts are, like, so perky, and she dresses like the lead.
All right, Mick.
You know?
That garage is cold.
But, like, I just think that you could... I doubt any of that's on the page. I bet you that was all Rose McGowan just taking this character, like, I'm going to make this character way more interesting for this film.
She
said I can also see it being a leftover design from Drew Barrymore being that blonde lead, who would probably read a lot more badass and, like...
I think Neve Campbell was already signed on to be Sydney at this point, and Rose McGowan was brunette. So she, before one of her screen tests, she actually came in with new hair because she wanted to look different enough from Neve Campbell to, like, get a shot at it. And I think she also was saying that, like, she wanted to make every second that she was on screen count, so that when she died in the film, everything was just less fun without her. And I was like, I love that so much.
That rules.
I would say mission accomplished.
Like,
yeah.
We're talking about, like, it being kind of a subversion of, like, the teen movie archetype, but it's very in line with, like, Halloween, which Kevin Williamson has listed as, like, his favorite slasher movie.
Which
because
is in this movie
you've
a
got
lot.
She has the popular friend. She's the prude.
you've got Lori, who's kind of like the more prudish, bookish girl, and her friend is like has a boyfriend, has him over to have sex, gets killed. I will say, okay, I think it is such a smart choice to have Halloween on at the end of this movie because I like the Scream score well enough.
Yeah.
It's fine. It is not a John Carpenter score. It is not the score from John Carpenter's Halloween.
Yeah.
So we say, why not?
How do we get a John Carpenter score in the end?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Let's just throw it on so that the tense score from the third act of Halloween is going through our third act. It's like, you know what? Good fucking call, Wes, because that shit bangs.
Diegetic music.
Yeah.
Some diegetic sound.
See,
in
that's something else that that little short that we all made together, Bloody Mary, in college.
Where I was dressed as Ghostface.
Yes, that, by the way, Bloody Mary exists within the Scream universe. It is canon. But
Surprised.
When the Bloody, I know our listeners don't give a shit about this, but when the Bloody Mary appears after Alexa
fucking
says
link
it
it in the show notes.
After Alexa says it 3 times in the mirror, that tag from Halloween that they use in this movie, that brings it in. So if you could tell that, I'm a huge fan of this fucking movie, it's not subtle at all. I love that they use that tag in Scream, and I completely agree with you, Zach. It's like it adds that. I like the score of Scream. I think it's very effective. I like the wait for it ethereal sort of singing that kind of happens, the ghostly choral chorus aspects happening. But having John Carpenter score bits of the big escalation it is a brilliant little trick. Very, very
so
good.
Brilliant, and it's not subtle in the slightest, which is great. The movie has a really subtle Halloween reference way earlier that I love. It's not in the opening scene. In Halloween, Lori is driving with her friends, and Blue Oyster Cult's Don't Fear the Reaper is playing in the car.
Oh, you're so right.
And there's a Scream cover of it when we first meet Billy, who's the Reaper. And I love it.
Is that what that song is? It's playing
it's like a
when we
really
meet Billy?
slow, weird,
Interesting.
I don't love that cover. It's a
for
good
the
music
scene, I
choice.
love
Yeah, I wouldn't listen to it in my own time.
Oh, God, no. The original's great.
I also, on a rewatch with this, I realized that I've never played a drinking game to Scream, but if I did, I would make one of the rules that you have to take a drink every time Ghostface does a comedy stage fall. Because it happens so many times, and I love every single one.
Yeah, I like that Ghostface gets his shit rocked, with frequency.
Yeah.
He gets hit with the fucking door of a fridge. He gets drilled in the balls with a beer bottle.
Ghostface gets kicked in the balls, I think, 3 times in this film. At least 3.
That is if I wanted to do fucking cinema sins to this movie, I would be how are Billy and Stu not just absolutely covered in bruises from getting their fucking shit caved in all the goddamn time?
That's the one. I really do not like Scary Movie. I know that sounds fucking pretentious, whatever, but the one joke,
it's not good.
The
this
one
movie,
joke
Scary
that
movie,
I do
so
enjoy is the fact that Ghostface gets the shit kicked out of him so much. There's a scene in Scary Movie where I think the Nev Campbell character pushes a piano down the staircase and just crushes Ghostface and just super over the top violence against him. That's the one bit out of that I enjoy, because watching Scream was dude, this guy's getting fucking, or Stu and Billy, and it's always fun to try to figure out, okay, is it Billy right now? Is it Stu?
Yeah.
Which is which? That's my favorite game to play, when watching this again and again, is trying to figure out, is it Stu or Billy in the moment?
Well, okay, this is something that I think I just enjoy in my horror movies, is that mystery element, because I feel the same way with The Thing.
Yes, 100%.
Trying to game out, who is the thing when in that movie is, part of the reward of rewatches of that. Alexis, you talked about one of the many fucked up things about the Weinsteins. They also almost fucked up and like kicked Wes Craven off this movie.
Really?
Because they wanted to shoot this in Vancouver. To save money, and Wes Craven was like, "No, we're shooting this in Santa Rosa. Like aesthetically, it's exactly what we want. It's the perfect small town look. We're shooting it here." And they were like, "Okay, well, maybe it won't be Wes Craven's Scream. Maybe it'll just be anybody's Scream." And he's like, "Okay, well, if we're not shooting it in Santa Rosa, I'm walking." And eventually, they were kind of like, "Okay, you called our bluff. We'll shoot it in Santa Rosa." But yeah, like they almost got Wes Craven to fucking walk off this movie with their dumb fucking shit. Like it is a pure fucking accident that Miramax ended up with like the best horror franchise of the 90s, because this was like right around when Bob Weinstein started Dimension Films and like started producing a lot of horror movies, and fucking terrible taste in horror. Like terrible. Like in some of the interview stuff that I watched, like Kevin Williamson talked about how, we really wanted Miramax to get this movie because they had such a good track record. But like, it's like they had a good track record with like awards movies. Like Miramax produced the dog shit Hellraiser sequels, the dog shit Halloween movies. Like Bob Weinstein, like fucking burn, you piece of shit. You not only are you just a bad man, you got dog shit taste, and it's a fucking accident you ended up with Scream.
Are you saying Miramax is bad?
I'm saying that Miramax's horror wing sucked shit.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Like had terrible taste in horror movies.
Because I remember when I was younger, and we would rent VHS. If Miramax showed up in the beginning, if it was a horror film, we would go, "Oh, this is going to be a good movie." It was almost, I don't want to say like it's kind of the A24 of the 90s, but they would produce like a lot of good stuff. But I think they were great with independent films, but like,
in all of Tarantino's movies.
Yeah, horror movies though, like dog shit. Fuck you.
I think it's interesting. I did not know that about Weinstein with this, but I think you could make a very interesting list of the amount of great movies that the Weinsteins almost fucked up. And like you definitely have Scream on that list. You'd probably have Lord of the Rings at the top of that list. Like, it would be fascinating to see the movies that are great that I bet you they almost nearly fucked up with their meddling. That would be really
Wasn't the Lord of the Rings one, they wanted it to be 2 movies? Is that what that was?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes, they wanted it to be 2 movies, and that was an interesting calling of a bluff in the sense that the Weinsteins actually just got kicked off the project, and New Line Cinema got it. And the only reason that happened as seamless as it did without like a lawsuit being involved was that their names would still be attached at the end credits, which is why when you watch those movies you see Weinstein, but that was it. That was just a part of a deal. They had nothing to do with that. The reasons they are good is because of their exit. But this is not the Lord of the Rings podcast, it's the Scream podcast.
Well, I want to talk really quickly, not about Scream, but about another time where the Weinsteins were fucking threatened, which is awesome. Do we know the Hayao Miyazaki story?
Yes. No. The sword.
Yeah. So they got the like American distribution rights for Princess Mononoke.
Hell yeah.
And when they were granted those, they were sent a little gift by Studio Ghibli.
It was because they suggested that they cut it for American audiences.
And they were sent a samurai sword with a note attached that said "no cuts."
Wow,
amazing!
Hayao Miyazaki will kill you. So it's like I will slice and dice you, you fat fuck.
And rightfully so, because Princess Mononoke may be the best movie that they've ever made, like story wise. There's nowhere that you should cut that movie.
Yeah, it's like the dude's nickname was fucking Harvey Scissorhands. Like he's notorious for fucking up movies. Like for every great movie that they produced, there are probably like 6 movies that would have been at least good that they fucked up.
I just love listening to James Gray, the director, just like all the stories that he's told about Harvey Weinstein, like calling him at 3 a.m, clearly like high or drunk, saying, "You gotta cut your fucking movie down or I'm gonna pull it or I'm gonna shelve it," and this kind of stuff. And he would just always call his bluff. He'd fucking hang up on Harvey, he'd tell him to go fuck himself and all sorts of stuff. But it's like,
Okay.
what a piece of shit. Piece of shit.
Fuck them. Okay, back to the topic at hand. Scream. We
Scream.
need to go over our characters because I would love to talk about Dewey so much.
Oh my god, it's crazy. Dewey's Doofy. Dewey's great.
Dewey.
He is like, so in a movie where everyone is like kind of horrible a little bit, like everyone in this movie is so fucking jaded.
Yeah.
Like the kids are so like, the principal's strung up with his entrails out on the football field. Let's go check it out before they pull him down. Like Dewey is just like such a like sweet little like fucking Jimmy Stewart-ass guy.
And he has the best line in the whole
Gail
movie.
Weathers is like, is this what you've been looking for? Because she sees the car of Sydney's dad, and then he goes, all my life.
So good.
Well, apparently David Arquette came into like they wanted him reading for one of the kids because he's only 24, which is fucked up that he's younger than I am now. That sucks. That sucks for me. But he was like, I really think I'd like to read for Dewey, and he was like, well, that kind of seems like the and at this point Courtney Cox was attaching. He's like, kind of seemed like the good part. You get to make out with Courtney Cox, which is
real
sweet because then they were married for at least a bit.
Yeah.
And the whole series kind of like mirrors their relationship.
Yeah.
Even right down to their divorce, which I thought was really brave, actually.
Yeah, and like. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like in Scream 5, there's like a level of like peace between the two of them, and I'm
Definitely.
like, I hope that's how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dewey, the man. Drew, what were you saying is the best line in the movie that Dewey has?
I was 23 for a whole year.
I was 24 for a whole year.
Is that what it is?
for a whole year. Yeah.
Swinging a miss, Drew.
Yeah.
Blew it.
I remember,
It's the best, though. God, it's the best.
I remember watching this movie in college after I had met you guys, and I think I had turned 25 already, and I watched this movie and I had this moment of like, oh my god, I've out-aged Dewey. It was not the moment.
It sucks.
Yeah,
Not the moment.
I hate it.
I got a shout out for talking about Dewey, played by David Arquette, obviously, so fantastic. Two moments that are my favorite. One, obviously, the famous one where you have perhaps one of the most comedic like beats in the film is when the sheriff is talking about the mystery, and every time he talks about like a different aspect of the mystery, he like drags his cigarette, and then David Arquette, Dewey, just kind of looks at it and then like licks his ice cream cone.
He's eating strawberry ice cream.
Yeah, he's eating strawberry ice cream. So the sheriff,
Which
he uses
I would
a cigarette.
argue the most childish ice cream you can eat.
Yeah, like that. It just tells you so much about the character that when this police officer is stressed out, his vice is strawberry ice cream. That's fantastic. But then it's so subtle, but it gets me every time. Is when they're after bam, bitch goes down, and they're having a little slumber party because it's not good for Nev Campbell right now, and Ghostface calls like the house, and the mom like bursts in, and they're like freaking out, and he hangs up, and then Dewey like walks in with his sidearm drawn in his pajamas. Cause okay.
Like, you gonna shoot the phone?
Ghostface is on the phone. Let me get my gun. So he walks in, and it's so funny because then like Ghostface hangs up, and the girls runs out, and he just kind of like picks up the phone and goes, "Hello."
No, my favorite.
Awesome.
My favorite has always been the part where she's like, "All right, doofus, she's coming home with us," and he's like, "Hey, Mom told you you're not allowed to call me that while I'm at work."
Yeah.
I'm a man of the law.
God damn it, Tatum, when I'm in this uniform, you treat me like a man of the law. There's something kind of Charlie Kelly about it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Exactly.
absolutely. Yeah.
Like that, like, man boy playing pretend.
Yeah, man, that guy just doesn't even get us, man.
We're talking about you.
I think it's so funny that Gale Weathers actually ends up dating him because it's like she's like so capable. and not that he's not. Like, he's definitely like...
He's not.
Well, here's the thing, though, is that you can have somebody who's not capable as long as they're always down for it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you know, like Dewey's always willing to put himself on the line, and he just has like... I wouldn't call it incredible luck because this man has been fucked up over the span of these sequels.
Well, again, spoilers, he is killed in Scream 5, which I was not happy
I was
about.
angry about that.
Can't kill Dewey.
It's like they kill him after they spend like the most awful looking scene in his trailer, and they're like, he's an alcoholic and he's awful and his life is misery.
This is why legacy sequels are bad.
Hated it.
No. Dewey's always down for the bitches, you know. So we love Dewey.
Gale
is,
Weathers is the type of she's the type of woman that could have any man she wants, right? Like that. When you first see her, she's in that neon green power suit. She's on top of her fucking shit. She's also, in terms of like a movie full of like awful people, she's like, oh my god, like there's a possibility that there's 2 murders out and a mystery. God. Imagine what that would do for book sales. You know what that could do
for my book
I
sales?
love Kenny's face, though, because for a second there, he thinks like, oh, there is something more to her. Yeah. And then she says, do you know what that could do to my book sales? And he's like, oh, okay.
Drew, Kenny's full name is Kenny Jones.
No, it is not.
Yes, it is. They talk about it in the interview.
Holy
we know
shit.
a Kenny Jones.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so to what you just said, Mick, I think that in its essence could be true, but is not true, because a woman like Gale is so difficult. I would say that most men that would be like on her level would probably find her too difficult to appease, which is why...
Yeah.
Which is why, yes, absolutely. There are unicorns out there that like women that are difficult to work with.
And his name is Dewey.
Then again, the only time I've actually heard somebody say in a show, I like challenging women, that person was a lesbian. So, don't know. But that's why her and Dewey work so well together, because Dewey's just like so willing to like do whatever for Gale. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, like it has the thing that like I find so delightful about putting Jimmy Stewart and Katharine Hepburn together in the Philadelphia story. Like, it is like this, you know, extremely like all business, like to use Courtney Cox's turn of phrase, bitch, and this like kind of like sweet affable guy who's just like so into her.
Yeah. What are you gonna say, Mick?
I will say I love how Scream 2.
I was gonna say that when she's like trying to manipulate him a little bit and flirting, like how do you flirt with a guy that like his vice is strawberry ice cream in a cone? It was when she's like, yo, you know, my target, you know, I'm most popular with the demographic of, it was like 12 to 24-year-old boys. And, oh, I just missed you because he's 25. It was like, but you yourself, you got like you look like you're 12 years old yourself, except for your upper body torso. I was like, this is such weird flirting. I don't like this flirting. This is
Does the Force require you to work out?
Doesn't he say no? Is there like a bit there?
No, I think he says something about like
to combat his boyishly
it helps
good
me
looks.
be taken. It helps me be taken more seriously as an officer. It helps me combat my boyish good looks.
Incredible.
I think honestly, everything we're talking about right now just speaks to what you said, Zach, about this script just being like going way harder than it ever needs to. Like everything we're saying right now is like, this is amazing that this is in a slasher film.
We're like almost exclusively talking about the characters, which is crazy.
Which is wild.
Okay, so
awesome.
Here's the thing about this really quick. Apparently this movie almost got an NC-17, which is crazy to me. This, I don't know. Like, they didn't like cut it down that much from what they had it as for an NC-17. Like, I think there's like one shot of Steve's entrails moving slightly, that they cut, but like I talked to Sloan about this earlier this week because I'm like I have watched so many grisly fucked up movies that like my perception of this might be skewed, but like this is not a graphically violent film.
The Thing is like a million times crazy.
Yeah.
That is odd. This is not a gratuitous movie, David.
Gratuitous.
No, I agree.
If we're talking characters,
wait, Alexis, what? Sorry, I feel like I talked over Alexis. What did you have to say?
Oh no, I was just gonna say before we move on to like the other main characters, the two girls that are in the bathroom while Sydney's like hiding in the bathroom you hate them, but I love the conversation that they're having because it's so 90s. She's like, what if it was actually her and she's so fucked up by her mom's murder that like she went crazy and did it. And she's like, where do you get this shit? And she's like, I watch Ricky Lake. And I'm just like, okay.
I genuinely, Alexis, I almost pitched best one scene performances as the big topic for this episode because I love those girls. Literally,
them.
I was watching that scene and I was like, are we going to talk about the greatest one scene performances? Because they are so fucking memorable.
They're so great.
I'm about to be the pettiest motherfucker alive.
Exactly.
You're so right, Mick. That's so true.
Why are you going to be the pettiest motherfucker alive, Drew?
Hysterical, healthier form of therapeutic expression, great acting. But those two characters are like the most popular and the least popular girl in school. Like they're designed to look like it's such a conversation that feels so like, and I know that's so weird to bring up, but every time I watch it, I'm like, why is she talking to her?
They're friends.
Okay.
I guess, you have like, I don't know.
But it's also like that, I don't know, it's like, okay, so have you ever heard the term of like fat best friend or something?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
I have been that.
I feel like this is it's like
that's
a very,
what I call Drew.
very 90s scene of like a really popular girl and then like a less popular girl are like really good friends because like there has to be like comparison between the two of them so that one of them gets all of the guys. But I just love that one of them calls Billy her bubble butt boyfriend. So great.
She's got her own bubble butt boyfriend.
Insane.
Love it. Living for them. They're just their dialogue is so fucking great. I mean, Kevin Williamson like gets fucking teenage girls somehow.
We must talk about this movie begs for discussion about the possible. And I'm probably projecting a bit, but the homoeroticism between Stu and Billy.
I was literally going to. I thought you were going to say the potential for a great sandwich between Stu and Billy,
which is kind of what I am talking about.
Yeah. I was like, it's not exactly the words that you put it in, but the feeling is there, and I'm with you. Except I'm not. I actually don't like Billy Loomis. The more that I watch this movie, the more I'm just like, it's Stu Macher all the way. And maybe that's just because I personally like Matthew Lillard better, but I also think that I hate Billy.
Yeah.
I think that now that I'm an adult woman, I'm like, I don't like you at all. I don't like what you're about.
Hey, listen, her mom died a year ago. She needs to get over this post-traumatic stress stuff.
What Billy has going for him is, aside from being discount young Johnny Depp, which for the longest time I thought this was Johnny Depp, he has that fantastic hairstyle from the 90s. It has the Leonardo DiCaprio center part. It has the Brendan Fraser from The Mummy thing going on. And look, if you're rocking that hairstyle, do whatever the fuck you want. But like, he's definitely a dick. You don't like him. There's something about Stu that, God, you're just such a fucking asshole. I just want to kiss the fuck out of you. I feel like there's some sexual energy happening between the two of them, especially when he's flipping. Go ahead.
In the interview stuff that I watched, it was kind of like Stu is kind of in love with Billy
Yeah, I
was
can see
like
that.
something that was basically said by Matthew Lillard.
Oh
He
my
also
God.
compared them to Captain Hook and Smee.
Oh my god.
Stu, do something
Understand why
intelligent.
I like Stu more. Okay, now I
Matthew
get
Lillard
it. He's a
said there
little
was
gay.
Captain Hook and Smee energy. Did
Yes,
say
he
that?
literally. Yeah, he was like, I was kind of the Smee to his Captain Hook.
I
It's
love
like
that.
you've got this like really cool, like kind of confident leader, sexy guy, and then there's this kind of dumb fucking bumbling idiot who just follows him around.
Yeah, you know,
That's a
there's,
man
there's
who
something to be
understands
said.
what movie he's in.
Yeah, there's something to be said for like a dumb, bumbling idiot who also seems like a little bit of a feral rat that would like probably dick you down.
That's your exact fucking
I was
cue
just going to say,
zone.
you're just describing what you list in your dating profile of the guy you're looking
Yeah,
for.
what you're looking for.
Well, I think that's like one of the reasons Stu's so scary is because like he's kind of like he's very accurately representative of how like
Stupid people are like a knife's edge away from being maniacs.
Yeah, ignorance is actually a really dangerous trait.
Yeah, for sure. Yes.
But that's what I like about Stu, though, is like he suggested at the end that like he doesn't really have a fucked up life. Like, did you really call the police?
No, his mom's
My
gonna be
mom
so
and
mad
dad
at
are
him.
gonna be so mad at me. Like, he has a full. Oh shit, my earbud just fell out. He has like clearly he comes from not a broken home. He has his fucking house. That's fucking
So
money
nice.
right there. It's a big
So
fucking
nice.
house.
Yeah.
They have a fucking
And
boat.
it just, yeah, they've got a fucking boat. Good. I never even noticed that, Alexis, but you're doing the film major's work. I appreciate that.
They've got
Like,
a
I
boat.
think
They
that
got a
speaks to his
surfboard. Like,
menace.
yeah.
That really does speak to his menace of just being like, this guy is he's just a fucking psychopath.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Although
that privileged, white, insane kid. When did Columbine happen?
I looked it
happened-
up during this episode 3 years later.
Yes. Yeah, it happened between Screams 2 and 3, because that's part of why
Wow.
Scream 3 wasn't set back in Woodsboro dealing with like the high school, is because they didn't want to have a bunch of teenagers dying after Columbine.
I was going to say, if Scream 1 had come out after Columbine, I could totally see that being a direct conversation.
Yeah.
But
It kind of was predictive in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
he
like,
shouldn't have
killers.
made this movie.
yeah, and like literally kind of like the types too. Like they are very fucking what Eric Harris, Dylan Klebold. Like it's
The leader and the follower.
Yeah, it's a similar dynamic.
Movies do
So-
not create psychopaths; they just make them more creative.
more creative. Yeah.
Man, what if, again? It's so
Movies
quotable.
like this
Okay.
just shouldn't exist, clearly, because of things like Columbine and violent video games.
Yeah,
and-
no, it's
yeah.
the movies. Movies did it.
Yeah,
Okay, so we are going to have to start wrapping up fairly soon,
Okay.
but I need to bring up the one character who we really haven't discussed at all. Motherfucking Randy. I was
Yeah.
meant to be Randy.
Yeah,
I was meant to live Randy's life, and I'm mad that I didn't get to. I was meant to be the guy at a video store having some person come up to me and go, "Hey, what's that werewolf movie with E.T.'s mom?" and be able to go, "The Howling." Like, that's me.
You know what's so funny?
It should have been me, not him. It's not fair.
I was watching.
You're such a Randy.
I was watching that scene, and when he's like talking to them, I had this moment because like also in like Stranger Things, what is it, season 4? Robin and Steve are working at a video store, and every time I see somebody working at a video store, I always have this like almost like a FOMO of like, why wasn't I born like 10 years earlier so that I could have been
Sure,
working
yes.
at like Blockbuster, because like I would have crushed
Yes.
that shit so hard. My whole
Yes.
brain is just like, it's an encyclopedia. That's like, people ask me, they're like, oh, who's this one actor? And I'm just like, oh, well, what else have they been in? And I'm just like, going through my files.
My body is a machine that turns movies into an annoying conversation that you have to deal with. Like,
You know,
that was meant to be me.
I had a
Well, it's
conversation.
cool, too, like...
Huh?
Do it.
Oh.
Oh, no, do it.
Oh, I had a conversation with somebody last night where we were talking about like, oh, what are things that you look for in somebody who you date? And I was like, well, they have to like movies. At least they have to like movies. And they're like, oh, what if they don't? And I was like, well, then they have to like me talking about movies, because otherwise I have nothing to talk about.
And that's a hard bridge to like to
Yeah.
get there. You know, if you don't
Yeah.
like movies, then
You're not gonna like
You're not
everything
gonna like.
I have
You're
to
not
say.
gonna like this. This ain't gonna work for you.
Oh,
That's
boy.
so funny.
All right.
You know,
No, Randy rules.
I have to
Randy
s-
rules.
Randy does rule. He annoys the fuck out of me a bunch, but
Jamie
also,
Yeah,
Kennedy.
because you're in that picture and you don't like it.
no. But the thing is when Alexis and when we finally watched it's Scream 2, and Randy, spoiler alert, dies in it. It's
a
like
fucking bummer.
I didn't realize how much I actually love Randy until
love
I watched
Randy.
Scream 2 and he dies, and it bummed me the fuck out.
That's why.
Like,
Yeah,
It-
not having
it hits
not
hard.
having Randy sucks.
That's why-
not
I
having
totally
Randy
agree.
not having Randy is a bummer.
Yeah, but that's why like Scream 3, like his cameo in it is so fucking good. I fucking love that whole section where he's like on the VHS and he's explaining the rules of the trilogy. Because then that you also find out that he lost his virginity at the video store, and I just think that that's such a fun little like side note.
God, how did I miss that?
He says he got laid at the video.
That's
store.
awesome.
Yeah, okay.
Getting some
Love
fucking
that.
blockbuster strange.
Yeah.
One of my fucking
God, the best
favorite
kind.
little side notes in the first Scream, though, is when Tatum is just like, "You still work at the video store? I thought they fired your ass," and he's like, "Twice."
Yeah.
No,
How he puts the
idiot, they
popcorn
fired
in
me
his
twice.
mouth, like,
Yeah.
so good.
All right. Well, let's go around.
Wait.
Alexis, we'll start with you.
Okay.
We're gonna need to start getting into final thoughts on Scream because I have apples to pick.
Okay. Rose McGowan, MVP, redesigned her whole wardrobe. Gave Harvey Weinstein and his team some shit because she asked for like more money, and she decided to not use a stunt double for her death scene because she said, and I quote, "They are used to seeing me in the costumes, and it's going to be a shot of my ass. So fuck if I'm going to let this scene, a critical scene, fail because I used a stunt double." She's like, "I can take the pain," and I was like, wow. What a queen! We love you.
Love that.
Go off. All right, Drew.
God, just final thoughts?
Yeah.
I mean, I
What you
fucking
got?
love Scream. Scream's a masterpiece.
Yeah.
Total classic. I really like, it's like one of the, it's pretty, it's perfect. I love it. I really like, there's nothing about Scream I don't love. I mean, I've loved the title because I'm used to it, but I would have liked Scary Movie. But that's my 0.2% gripe with it. Love it.
For me, I mean, I completely agree. This is a masterpiece. This kind of feels like a movie that is made for each of us on this podcast, in the sense that this is a movie. This is a great horror film about horror films. And that's it, but not the making of movies. It's about the structure of it, and it deconstructs it, and it's so fun. It's so great at it. Wes Craven, I need to see more of his stuff. I think I've only seen this and Nightmare on Elm Street. I have not seen a bunch of his other stuff, and I really need to. So, absolute masterpiece. No notes. 5 out of 5. It's an all-timer, and good pick, Zach. Good, fantastic way to send off spooky season 2024.
Literally.
Hey, listen, we've talked about this movie so much, it was time to finally do an episode on it. Mick, I'd recommend you watch The People Under the Stairs. It's on the shelf.
That is at the top of my list for the next one.
Never seen that.
Really fucking fun.
Shit.
I
like
but
Last
I will wrap up. I mean, we've said all we can say praising this movie. I just want to wrap up with a fun little anecdote from the making of this movie. Apparently, the late great Wes Craven was notorious for being on set and going, "More blood, don't be stingy." And Kevin Williamson is watching the scene where Billy and Stu stab each other, which was one of the things that the MPAA got super worked up about. And he's watching this and he goes, "Man, Wes, Jesus, this movie's really bloody." And Wes Craven goes up to Kevin Williamson and he says, "Well, the writer wrote this scene where these two guys in a kitchen cut each other up and nearly kill one another. So what do you think it should look like?" And Kevin Williamson's like, "So after that, I went back to my trailer."
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Love that.
Can we just,
What a fucking picture.
Hold on. I think a very important skill set to have as a film director is to be able to artfully tell people fuck you on
Yeah.
set
Yeah.
while stating your artistic stance in reasoning. Like, you have to be able to have that skill as a director that Wes Craven just exhibited in that interchange.
Yes. Okay, but wait. We never even mentioned the little Fred little cameo. What are we doing?
Yeah.
Fred, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wes Craven shows up in the Freddy costume.
Yeah.
Oh, and Henry
It's so
Winkler.
great.
Henry Winkler's great in this too.
He is.
If we mentioned everything that's great
It'd be
about
too long,
Scream,
yeah.
this episode
Yeah.
would be twice as long as
Yeah.
Scream. It's already longer than Scream.
Yeah.
Favorite shot with the eye, Henry Winkler's eye,
Yes.
and Ghostface comes in the eye.
It's really
So
good. I'll come in your
It's
eye.
really
It's
good.
really,
Please
really
do.
good.
Now.
It's just like another great subversion is that you think like, oh, the principal could be the killer, and then it cuts to his announcement saying, just a reminder, I love you. And I'm like, do you though? You would say that.
Him putting on the fucking Ghostface mask and scaring himself
But
in the
then,
mirror.
but then pulling a fucking
over-the-top
Fridays thing where he
scissor.
takes it off and he like does that thing in the hair. I'm like, you
Yeah, it does the
motherfuckers.
fawns. Well,
No, that scissor sound effect he has when he's cutting the mask is so over the top.
Yeah.
It's like peaking. It's like just peaking the whole time.
I keep thinking he's
It's
gonna
awesome.
like cut off his finger, even though I've seen the movie like
Yeah.
dozens of times.
Yeah.
well, we've come to the end of spooky season.
Hate to see
Drew,
it go.
thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks, Drew.
Thanks for having me.
We love you,
What
Drew.
do you have to plug? What do you have to friggin' promote?
Aside from the man
I got
sitting
a
across
feature
from you.
that's. God, yeah. You're plugging me too often. I got a feature coming out that I'm really excited about. Yeah,
What's it
I'm
called,
jazzed. It's
Drew?
called American Flake. It is I like to call it a stoner comedy gone wrong. And yeah, probably going to be out in the next year. Hopefully, you'll see it at a big festival.
Fuck
Hell
yeah.
yeah.
Get posted.
And follow B Team Studios. It's our little fucking production shingle. We got more shit coming.
Big time. That's B.Team Studios.
Yeah, we'll link it in the show notes. Alexis,
Oh my god.
it's your month.
That's right.
It is.
I think I know what you're doing. You're the only one of us who has ever changed up the theme for their month.
Yeah, you're the only interesting person on this on this show.
That's a given. They all know that, Mick. So, where are we going, my friend?
Well, we're coming back to Period Piece Palooza this year because by popular demand, the people wanted it back. And by people, literally you guys.
Looks like
Hell
Zach's
yeah,
watching
no.
Phantom Thread.
Shut the fuck up.
Okay, but also, not everybody would know, but I am turning 30 at the end of November, on November 27th. A birthday that I share with not only Jimi Hendrix, but now Pulitzer Prize winning Han Kang, a South Korean writer. And so I'm doing what I'm calling 30 for 30 since there are 30 days in November and I am turning 30 and so it's just a totally curated list of period piece movies, and so the first movie that we're going to start off really strong with a movie that I believe is going to be an automatic 5-star for me, and that is Amadeus, 1984, directed by Milos Forman. I'm very excited. And we will actually have a special guest on this episode. Yes, my first guest ever. And actually, we will have a returning guest from a previous episode as well join us on the third week of my month. Yeah, very excited.
Fuck yeah. Great stuff to come. Well, yeah, if you want to watch Amadeus, you can find it wherever you rent your movies. Milos Forman, starring Tom Hulce and F. Murray Abraham.
Yeah, Zach, thank you for editing out my very loud moaning sound that I let out when Alexa said Amadeus, because I'm very excited about this.
Oh, no, I cut it out. It's going to come in after the music.
A movie I have never seen and have I've been wanting to watch this for so long. I'm so excited.
Hell yeah. Well, this was another like Netflix watch on my laptop around the same time I saw Scream, so I'm excited to
That's
finally
a great
revisit
double
it.
feature.
Sure. All right. Well, yeah, that's where you can find Amadeus. Rent it wherever you rent movies. And if you want to find us, the Film Majors, you can find us at Film Majors Pod on Instagram Threads, Blue Sky, and TikTok. You can find us on YouTube, the Film Majors Podcast. Like, comment, subscribe, the whole fucking 9 yards. And we will see you next month for Period Piece Palooza.